schedule wrong, and I made it a mobile instead of a streaming software schedule. So I think I'm gonna jump on YouTube and check and see. There it is. Boom, we're live on YouTube.
Okay.
All right.
And there we go.
So we're good.
All right, guys.
Out of there, and it'll take a minute for people to find us.
Yeah, get a few people in the on the rail here, and sorry for the delay, guys.
Okay, so Woodley has middle pair open ender. Evan has middler pair open ender, and Atheus has a top pair.
Yeah, a little piece for everybody here. Fair size piece, actually. For
I really like Evan's side of it right now. All right, we're good. We got people in the chat.
All right, great. Welcome in, guys. We're sorry for that delay. We are back live here with you, and we've got action in progress. Everyone got a piece of this flop, and then the turn gives two players a straight. They are going to be chopping this one. And then AA here is going to have only chop outs himself if it happens to come a 9. We got a jumper. Evan's all in. No surprise there after Woodley had bet out at it. This is a large pot. It's just going to be a little anticlimactic, as both players will show down the same hand and chop up the $150 roughly of dead money. AA reaching in the bag for the add-on. Game to play. That's right, guys. We are playing 1,500 cap, 2-5 no limit tonight. That is just the sweet spot. And again, if you were just rejoining us on Facebook, we're sorry we had to cut the stream there for a minute. We had a little bit of technical difficulty getting it going on YouTube, but we are back in the mix now.
Yeah, that was all Eric error.
No big deal. Working out the kinks as we get the stream rolling here. We're just making improvements day by day and doing what we can do. And I would say overall, it's going great. Software looks great. The quality of the stream, of the commentary, of everything is just getting better all the time.
So somehow...
A little big pot energy. Knock is wishing for. That is Mr. Nocturnal. That's what he goes by, because he is a musician, makes beats, hip-hop beats, and also does some editing work, and he actually edits the Next Gen live stream, I'm sorry, the Next Gen poker vlogs, and does a great job with it. If you have not checked out those guys' vlogs, you have got to go give them a watch. They are going to be making their content here at Poker House Dallas now, and are very excited about the opportunity to work together. Mr. Captain Underpairs, I am digging that screen name, by the way. That's a lot of fun. The commentators are Mr. Nick from Haslett House Poker. That's me. And we've got Mr. Eric here in the booth with me.
Eric Anderson with Poker House Live.
That's right. And Eric is the guru of doing live streaming, and he is just helping us get ours rolling here as we are streaming several nights a week. Excited to have you guys in the mix, watching with us. And Mr. Chris says that he wants to play in this game, and that is actually totally available to you, Mr. Chris. If you guys want to play in this game, and I would not blame anyone for wanting to play in this game, as we have seen the action is hot and heavy to start here. You have to join the Next Gen Poker Discord. You can access that through their Instagram account. Search them up and get in contact with them, get in their Discord group, and then you will be on the short list to play this game every week.
No, it is working on YouTube again, Pablo. Don't go to the scheduled stream, just go to the live stream. The scheduled stream was not working, but the live stream is working now. Yeah. So I missed a few hands while I was updating that. What do these chip stacks look like?
Well, Frankie took down a couple of big pots, and Chris asked if he can just text Frankie. I think that actually being a part of the Discord, part of the privilege is getting on the list for that, you know, that feeds this game.
You have priority if you're on the Discord. You can chat. You can get discounted merchandise, and you can have like a gold membership on the Discord, so you'll have priority over other players. If you're down here and we have a seat open, you can play. Poker Monkey says, I'm here. He's
nice.
Probably playing in the 1-2 game out there.
Awesome.
So if there's a seat open, you can get in there. But I imagine as we progress and get bigger and bigger and it becomes more, there will be a waiting list, a longer waiting list.
That's right.
Like we had last night. Next Gen Poker says, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. That's probably Jello. And we got a big pot brewing here. Let's get back to this action where Nock has 3-bet pre-flop to a large sizing, a little over 5x. Might have been some additional money in the pot there that disappears after the player has folded. So maybe that was the reason for that large sizing. He gets called by QC out of position, which also could be a reason for that large sizing. I'm not sure if Nock saw QC make that hero call with ace-jack earlier. I didn't see if he showed that down, but he's kind of got him on the hook here, and Nock makes a tricky little check back.
So bad for QC right now because he's got... It's hard to put Nock on an ace when there's two of them out there.
Yeah, when he checks back, and then the pot is healthy, which I think allowed Nock to make that check back, as QC has a little less than a pot-size bet left.
300?
I'm not sure exactly how much he's going to go for. Bet. I think if he saw that ace-jack call earlier, you probably just have to go for all of it. He's got less than the pot. If he didn't see that hand, then maybe he won't expect QC to make that kind of a hero call.
I would try to get a little bit of value and go small.
Looks like he does go with the smaller size.
350.
Nice. Okay. You called it there, and I expect that to probably get called.
If I'm QC, I think QC is going to call that. He's getting a good price, unless he thinks Nock backdoored into a jack. But he missed all of the heart draws.
Sure, and that tricky little check back might have tricked him into thinking that he...
Yeah, my 10 is good right now. He's going to call. He's from what I've seen, he's pretty sticky.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's see if we can get some table chat here.
Yep.
Call.
Perfect.
Nock shows it.
I think that worked out as well as possible for Nock.
I don't know. I think when Nock sees that showdown, he might think, man, if I just kept betting turn and the river, I think QC might call him down with a 10, but who knows? The jack was kind of a bad card for him to get paid big time on the river by a 10, but we've seen QC make a couple of big hero calls already, so not sure what he might have done there. Either way, Nock wins a really nice pot. Almost a $2,000 pot, and he's got a 3K stack.
Brandon sees his money going around the table.
Yeah.
Here's Brian in the booth.
A love for Nock in the chat from
Jelly.
Mr. Jelly.
So what I told them is you can do bomb pots, you can do double boards, you can do whatever you want, but I don't like PLO unless it's a flip because I don't want you bending the cards. When you have four cards, they bend them and they break those antennas. And that's just, it's not these guys, it's everyone.
Sure.
You know, so PLO is so hard to, Jelly here, PLO is so hard to stream just because it's, and they're just playing Hold'em, so it's fine. So they didn't do a bomb pot or anything fun. They just said skip it. Looks like they just said let's just play. We don't want to play a Hold'em bomb pot.
Yeah.
Kimmy Stone says hi.
That would be my guess too.
And everybody's on YouTube now, so perfect.
Nice, awesome.
They found us on YouTube.
Yeah, and it looks like our viewers doubled there. So
we're still on Twitch. Well, there was like 20 people waiting for the schedule, which was me. that I messed up on this schedule. So
Yeah, sorry about that, guys, but we are back.
and now I know, and I won't make that mistake again.
We still got a lot of poker coming your way.
Poker Monkey.
Poker Monkey is totally right that Mr. Woodley is a lot of fun to watch. Loose and aggro. He's already been mixing it up today. And QC, a lot less interesting than the first time we saw the Jack 4, but for those of you that are just joining us on YouTube, they are playing Jack 4 offsuit tonight, and that is, of course, in honor of what happened on another competing live stream. These guys are playing, if you win a pot with Jack 4 offsuit, then everyone at the table owes you $10, just like the 7 deuce game, but just with a theme.
I don't pretend we're competing with hustlers.
Fair enough, fair enough. So I guess we can use the name, huh?
Yeah, that's like saying, you know, WS. I'm not too proud to mention somebody like that.
And what's good for poker is good for poker,
it's good
right?
For poker. I love poker.
Yeah, and here, this is going to be good for poker, too, as Mr. Evan has now picked up the Jack 4. And it looks like he's going to lay a trap instead of just trying to steal the blinds. He limps for the 5, and I would expect to see a limp 3-bet here if there's a raise behind him. So far, oh, Mr. QC just rips it in.
And then
goodness. Here we go. QC rips it in for 500, and AA wakes up with the kings behind him. Now, we know QC is not going to be dead, but
Evan is so happy he didn't try to make a move.
wow, yeah, he's going to get away from this for only $5. How nice is that?
You see that smile on his face? He's like, wow, I almost stepped in it there. The setup. So Kimmy says, not yet, meaning we're not in competition with Hustler yet.
Not yet. Let's see what happens.
Next Jam point out it's Jack 4 off.
Yes, it is Jack 4 off,
You know,
specifically, not suited.
Jack 4 could have called. He had blockers.
And we mentioned earlier, guys, that, well, first let's finish this pot here where kings have held over a $2,000 pot.
And Brandon's going, man, there goes the full 1,900.
Yeah,
he dispersed it around the table.
for sure. And QC's taken some hits here over the last couple of orbits. That one is just so unfortunate. You know, some people think that just shoving $500 with your ace king probably isn't the most profitable way to play that hand. You know, you're only going to get called by those few hands that are competing with you or maybe a little better than you.
I'm trying to think of how much money was in the pot.
There's only about $15
yeah.
in the pot, so that'd be like a pretty aggressive strategy there. But it still just feels really unfortunate if you do something quirky like that and then the guy happens to wake up with it this time, you know. Next thing you know, you're shipping your stack across the table.
Evan was wearing a ring that made his seat vibrate. If you know some of the speculation.
A little speculation going on, guys. And tonight, I am excited actually to chit-chat a little bit about that, Eric, and hear your take and maybe get the takes on some of the players that we have here in the chat, see what they think about it. Do you have any thoughts? Just like when you first saw everything go down,
Right.
The very first time, what was your initial impression?
So I am on the side that she is not cheating. Unlike 2019 where Mike Postle did it, if you watch his stream, he never tried to gamble. He waited for the river to know what he was up against. He didn't want to flip. If she knew the hole cards, if she knew what was going on, I don't think she would get it all in there. She wouldn't have raised. She would have just called, and then when she knew she was good, you know, why do you want to flip for 200 grand?
Sure.
So everything she said, I don't want to speak badly, but it's what you hear recreational players saying, well, it was suited. I had pot odds, and they just say words that they heard other people say, and they don't really know what they mean.
Yeah, exactly.
So she was just trying to justify a bad call.
Yeah.
Whether she thought she had a 3, whatever. She looked at her cards. She shouldn't have misread her cards, but maybe she, you know, whatever it is, I don't believe she had inside information. Otherwise, she, you know, I don't think so. Like 3 years ago, 100% he knew what was going on. But right now, you would have to give me more proof than that hand that she had inside information.
For sure. And I would never say for sure that she wasn't or didn't have inside information, because you can't know that until the investigation is completed, at least. So I can't say for sure that she should be cleared of all charges, but it does seem to me to be just speculation.
Yes, 8s against queens right here.
Okay, yeah, we got to pop her in. We'll get back into that here in a little bit. Let's get back to the action where Pat has just limped in and then gotten isolated by Brandon. These are both early position, limp and opens. And Woodley flats behind with the queen 5. You know he's in the mix. And Mr. Rosie wakes up with a real hand.
Wow.
The real hand. Even realer than the 2 queens. And we might see all the money go in here. I'm not sure.
I don't see how we don't. Pat might get away from it.
Yeah, I think Pat will... I could see Pat going ahead and making a cold call here. I'm not sure. Looks like he's reaching for chips. Oh, no. Wow. Oh, my goodness. And we're about to see a big pot.
Now.
What is Brandon going to do? Pat goes for the limp, cold, all-in shove, $700. Do you think Brandon can escape?
I think he can now with a raise and a re-raise. I mean... Oh, no.
Oh, he's all in, too. And Rosie calls.
No.
Wow.
Oh, $2,500
Oh, boy.
pot.
There will be blood, says Kimmy in the chat. And she is right about that. There's going to be blood here.
So, Brandon, somebody must have folded a queen. And he doesn't have... he doesn't have the heart outs. Pat has diamonds and 8. And they're TikToking this one for sure.
Yeah, a lot of blood, says Kimmy. Coolers, especially Brandon here. That's a tough spot. I mean, when Rosie comes in for the raise behind you, you know that's a good hand. But, Pat...
Unless it was a squeeze. I mean...
Well, it was a limp and a raise. It was a limp and a raise, and then Rosie re-raised him.
Okay.
So... Usually that's going to be a pretty strong hand. If it was just the 2 of them, I think definitely Brandon couldn't even think about getting away from it. But then when Pat comes all in...
Pat shoves, Brandon had a chance.
Exactly.
I was just about to say, you could be up against ace, king, or ace, king, and you're flipping against ace, king, and you're way behind ace, and king.
For sure. All right, let's see what happens here on this run out. It's clean on the flop. Rosie does have hearts covered. And a king on the end. Unnecessary, but seals the deal. And Rosie is going to ship a huge pot here. $3,000 going his way.
Wow.
He has stacked Mr. Pat and doubled through Brandon. Go, Rosie, go.
Wow.
No doubt. Big pots right off the bat for both of the next gen boys. They're doing well.
Live poker is rigged.
Goodness gracious. And that is Mr. Brian in the box. Shipping that pot. Dealing coolers.
Wait, yeah. I think he should actually just give the money back. Kings on you. What does that mean? Woodley just said, Rosie, kings on you.
I'm not sure.
Is that like a club?
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Maybe he's saying they're going around and it was his turn to have them or something. I'm not sure.
All right. Let's go with that.
Sure. Up to 58 viewers in the chat. That is the most that I've seen us have. Last week, I think we got into the 50s a few times, but
it's only our second week here with the next gen guys featured on their Sunday afternoon.
And just got the stream up and going 20 minutes ago on YouTube. So there's a good chance that we can crack that 60 mark here. Share the stream for us, guys.
Poor Rosie. He's got to stack all those chips.
Yeah. That's going to take probably 2 or 3 hands at least.
Poor guy. All right.
Mr. Pat's in for 5.
And here's where they have to tell Mike when they rebuy so he can update their stack size.
Mr. Pat's got the Lucky Cat card protector there. I like that a lot. It's a little surprising. Doesn't feel like it goes with his theme exactly, but I'm a fan myself.
The cat?
Yeah, Lucky Cat. That's
Pat in the Hat. Cat in the Hat, Pat in the Hat.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, I can see that.
I'm reaching.
Little rhyme scheme.
I'm reaching.
Sure. No, makes sense though.
Eddie says, nice to take a break from the booth. Y'all are doing great.
Appreciate that, Eddie.
Yeah, we love having Eddie in the booth.
No doubt. I'm sure me and Eddie will get some time in the booth together at some point.
Yeah. What's going on here? Okay.
Looks like we just got Rosie raising and Pat defending. Pat's in the big blind, so makes sense. I'm wondering if this was...
He's got one out left. Just the Jack of Clubs is live. You can see in the top right corner, those other ones are faded.
Gotcha.
So he's only got 8% chance.
Gotcha.
He doesn't know that. He
doesn't
thinks,
know.
You know, he's thinking all 4 Jacks are live.
For sure.
Rosie's got the boat. The boat.
Yeah. No, it's just a matter of how much money can he get out of Pat. What's the best way to get
232. Check call. 120. Something small. Check behind. Hope Pat bluffs at it.
Yeah, I think with Pat having this...
Oh, he's
this
only got
stack
$385.
size, I think he's probably going to go for it in 2 bets.
Yeah.
And just try and get called by a king or an ace.
150. Yeah, it didn't work anyway.
That feels, it's not
Pat.
So we don't even know what hand.
So Mike hit fold on the wrong spot, and we've got Brandon in there with an unknown hand.
Unknown hand. Now it got interesting.
So we don't know what Brandon has. So here, this will be interesting.
Oh, did he raise? Because it's back on Rosie now. It looks like he must have raised.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on.
It's all right, though. This is going to be a fun sweat to see what happens.
Mike just realized that Pat was out of the hand. He hit fold. He's just waiting for the cards to get away so he can adjust. You can see him in the background trying to figure out what he did.
Well, that's all right. We get a sweat here on this hand and see what Brandon has. It looks like Rosie bet, and then Brandon raised him. And now Rosie sitting here with the boat is in the tank. And I think... based on the action,
that was like 300 more. 500.
Oh,
he re-raised. He didn't call. He 3-bet. Ace King.
That's possible. Brandon kind of snap folds.
And then he folds. Okay.
Yeah, I wish I was able to see what the specific action of that was a little bit better, but definitely an interesting spot where Rosie looked like he decided to 3-bet on the turn. Brandon raised, and then Rosie re-raised.
Okay, Kimmy's asking how much does Mike have. Mike is running Action Tracker. Brandon was the player who was actually in the hand. Mike accidentally folded Brandon and had Pat call, whereas Pat had folded.
Gotcha.
So just a little recap of that hand. And now Mike's asking them, yeah, it was Brandon. So it shows Brandon with 1,400. We know he lost probably 500 of that, so he's down to 900 probably. And Pat, it shows at 385. He didn't lose 500 there, so he's up against. He's up about 900. Peter Alvarado on the YouTube says, "What do y'all think about that VPIP game last night?" So, did you get a chance to check that out, Doll?
I haven't watched any of that one yet.
All right. So last night we had 2 tables of 2-5 going.
Nice.
And to get everybody on every hour, when the second dealer pushed, I pulled up the VPIP, and the bottom 3 players, the bottom 3 VPIP, I bounced them to the other table, and then I should have done it better. I should have had the waiting list and grabbed the next 3 on the list. Instead, I just grabbed under the gun +1 +2 like you would in a tournament. So I randomly grabbed 3 players when I should have, and next time I'll do it correctly. I should have grabbed the 3 people on the list, and then we played for an hour, and then I did it again, and I bounced 3 more people.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I got to say that kind of... extra
dynamic.
Yeah, that extra dynamic, especially on the stream. You know, it makes it more engaging for the viewer. You kind of got a storyline to follow. You know, who's going to be the lowest VPIP over the course of the next couple hours?
Like 38. You know, and some people were. One of the guys was mad. He's like, "I got a 42. How am I getting kicked off?" I'm like, "Well,
yeah, wow.
There's it's like 38, 40, and a three-way tie for 42.
Sure.
So I went to who has the lowest aggression frequency, and you have a 2 for pre-flop raising, so it's you.
So as the stream goes on, the game actually gets crazier and crazier because you're replacing the 3 lowest VPIPs.
Yeah, we're replacing the 3 lowest VPIP. And, Kimmy is exactly correct. Since it was the first time, I didn't have a streamlined way to do it, so I would take these guys off, and then I would go over to the other one, and they'd be in the middle of a hand. And so I'm like, okay, when you guys are done with this hand, come over. And it took too long. And it was a match stack game, yes, Pedro says. Next time, when I know they're about to push, I'll go grab the 3 players, have them ready, have their chip counts ready to go, and they can sit out a hand while we're waiting, to figure out who's getting booted. But that's exactly right.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds like it reminds me of how they do the soccer leagues in Europe, where the lowest tier team gets booted to the lower league, and then someone gets promoted. So
right on.
Kind of creates an extra dynamic there.
I've never watched soccer in Europe in my life.
I haven't really. Well, actually,
so I don't know anything about it.
I did one Euro trip where I went and saw a game live, but I'm not typically a soccer guy either. But when I heard that about those leagues, I thought that was a really fun dynamic. Sort of like if you were the lowest.
Speaking of VPIP, Pat 61, knock 9.
9 for knock. This is a small sample size, but when you see that stark of a difference, hands. You know the guys are definitely playing differently.
And I set up the software so after 20 hands, it will show us a different stat after every hand.
Okay.
So instead of just showing us chip count every hand, it'll show us chip count, and then it'll show us VPIP, and then it'll show us pre-flop raise, and then it'll show us aggression frequency, and then it'll go back to chip count, and it'll alternate those things.
Perfect. And on cue, it looks like Knock defends the 8-3 here in the blinds. Neither one of his opponents had very good starting hands either, but Brandon has flopped the best of it. That's going to be a pair of kings, and he thinks it's good enough to bet. My guess would be that QC has the Jack 4 here. I just realized it, but he does decide to let it go.
Yeah.
Kind of surprised to see him give that one up so easily. I'm wondering if he possibly didn't remember they were playing the Jack 4 game.
And I think he just knew he was way behind. He couldn't bluff off with the ace and the king out there.
Maybe. He seems like the kind of guy who can go for a bluff from time to time.
But yeah, that's what Kimmy said. Perfect check raise spot.
Yeah.
He only does that with the nuts.
We did see him call down with ace high, though.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to put the money out there, but I guess maybe only as when he's trying to hero call, maybe not so much of a big bluffer.
Yeah, we did see him check raise twice on 2 different streams. The Jack 4 bounty is it's like the 7 deuce, but in honor of Hustler's latest stream, they are playing the Jack 4 for $10. And it's already been won twice today.
Yeah, at least. One of them was a small pot, and one of them was a monster.
One of them was a monster.
Yeah, where we saw
4-bet pre.
Yeah, 4-bet to $630 pre with the Jack 4. Pairs the 4 and then shoves for almost 1,000. Yeah, that's a big one.
I'm going to. You see all these seat numbers right there next to them? I'm going to get rid of that. We don't need those anymore.
Okay.
We know who these guys are. So it's going to be 15 minutes before it goes away. But then it'll go away. Because the 7AA doesn't make sense. And then you realize, that's the guy's name. All right, Woodley way ahead with third pair.
Woodley's going to bet at it, and that's going to be good enough, I think. Poker Monkey says it is just like the 7 deuce game. That's right, but we might have a theme running here. I've heard some other streams doing the same thing, and I think it could be a lot of fun if we change that game from 7 deuce in honor of Miss Robbie, the hero call of the century, assuming that all investigations come back clear. That is,
$10, Eddie.
$10, yeah. And I mean, if all things do come back clear. I think that in the aftermath of this, even though this has been a really tough experience for Robbie, she's going to be looked back upon as the girl that made a play so sick against the legend of live cash games that he literally had to accuse her of unfair play and then quit the game and ask for his money back. That's how sick the play was.
Yeah, that's the only thing that made sense to in his mind.
Exactly.
You couldn't actually do this.
When she weathers the storm here, she might become a legend.
I like it. I like it.
I like it too, and I think the Jack 4 in honor of her, at least because in my mind right now, she is totally innocent until something is proven.
I agree.
You know, or some strong piece of evidence comes out to make you question. Right now, I haven't seen anything to make me say that I could lean on the side that she did something unfair.
Woodley takes the lead with a queen. Oh, this might be bad for QC and Knock.
They both turn big flush draws. It is a paired board, so that might keep him out of trouble a little bit.
Oh, they both got there.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And Knock is going to, I think he... I don't see a scenario where QC folds.
It's only a matter of how much is not going to get out of him. Is he going to... Oh, so QC bets into him here, and of course Knox... I'm assuming he's going to go for the raise against QC. There is a paired board, but from what we've seen of QC, he's willing to put the money out there, and I'm sure Knock is thinking that he could get paid by just an 8, maybe a queen, or even worse, hearts. It does look like he's going to be raising.
Like 600. 650.
Okay, that's kind of interesting. QC had like only a little bit more than that, and Knock decides to bet less than his stack. And it's a snap call. And Knock is going to win another big pot. My goodness.
Yeah. At the hands of QC. Eddie and Kim in the chat, unfortunately, the poker world is taking the side of guilty until proven innocent. And for everyone in the chat, Miss Kim Stone is famous. I told you, she's a big deal.
Yeah, we're happy to have her.
She commented on the Joey Ingram podcast. Check it out. And Kim says, all of the analysis is literally looking for reasons she's guilty rather than the most natural explanation, an amateur move from an amateur player, which is exactly what I mean.
For sure, Kimmy. And I think that it's okay for them to scrutinize the film and everything, because if there's any question, then it's nice to clear her name, you know. And she said herself, I heard Robbie saying in her interviews herself that she would like to see an extensive investigation and make sure that her name is cleared.
Yeah, shine the light, make it, make it beyond any reasonable doubt that, we looked for everything.
Sure.
And came back clean.
For sure. And, to me, like the speculation between if she had some kind of device, that would be on a whole nother level than like if she saw one of his cards flash, for example. And in my mind, it's the player's job to protect their cards. And
well, he's in the 9, she's in the 1. The dealer's in between.
Oh, it seems so unlikely.
Think she's seeing anything.
I don't think so either. I've just heard people bring it up.
Oh, I've never heard that one yet. Brandon, pocket aces against... Oh, man. We are just dealing setups tonight.
Oh, my goodness. Athrea's going to lose a big one.
Brian wants blood.
Sucks out here. So this goes open. Large 3-bet from Brandon. Small 4-bet from AA, which is a little bit more typical. And I don't think these guys have enough money for AA to get away from this one.
No, it's all in.
I think it's just going to be all in and call.
Yeah.
These snap calls.
Bink, bink. Oh.
Yeah, this game is off the chain, Kimmy.
One time. The software does allow for 3 times.
Okay, flop is bricks.
He's got 1
Turn
out.
is brick.
Yeah, the king of spades was folded. He had 1 out.
Not going to find it this time. Brandon wins a big one. Tough spot for AA. Aces against kings.
Well, that's good for Brandon. He was down 1,900 before he came to the table.
You can see it on his face. Oh, that's tough. Frankie's actually in the game, Peter. There he is right there in the red. That is his Chiefs jersey, little Travis Kelce jersey, I believe. So this is Nick from Haslett House and Eric from Poker House here in the booth. But we appreciate the nice comment. And yeah, we've had some huge pots. Some of them kind of coolers and some of them kind of crazy play. And all of them have produced a lot of action.
Yeah, Poker Monkey. It's not. They're not just looking for the best poker minds to get on the stream. She has some assets that they were looking for.
The entertainment value, guys, is what they're looking for. They're looking for people who are going to make the stream fun to watch. Yes, and she is somewhat of an amateur player, and I actually did see a really interesting video today that was presented as a piece of evidence where she has her ring on, and as she pulls her hand off the table in the middle of that hand, the Jack 4 hand, she puts her hand underneath her, and then when she comes back up, the ring has been slid around to face the opposite direction, or she had like a big jewel, and it went from here to like inside of her palm. So kind of a strange thing, but
I haven't seen that video.
Yeah, what do you think, Kimmy? And
nervous twitch?
Could be, for sure. It's certainly not proof, but it's interesting.
People are really good at finding patterns even when there's not one there. I agree with Kimmy. Rings turned around. It happens all the time.
Yeah. It is a real big jewel, I'm going to say. So it would have taken a conscious effort to spin it around in her hand. But you're right. It doesn't mean anything.
It could have been just a nervous because all of a sudden all the eyes are on her and she's just like fidgeting.
Sure.
I don't think she's hiding anything. I'm extensively aware of RFID technology, and it's not an RFID thing. It's not like she could read his cards with that magic ring from 6 feet away.
No, I think that people would what they'd be saying
device
is that it's just a vibration, and that the ring vibrates whenever she's got the best cards, for example.
Man, that's some James Bond shit.
Sure. For sure. I was shown a YouTube video last night where someone made something really similar for a chessboard, that it was a small vibration device, because there's something similar going on in the chess world right now. Have you seen the controversy between Magnus and Hans?
I have not at all. I don't have
something
any idea what
very
you're talking
similar happened where Magnus, the #1 chess player in the world, was playing a match at a tournament and ended up at the end of the match quitting the tournament and then accusing the player he was playing against of cheating.
Brandon with kings again. Up against Pat with king and jack suited. I said kings again, but kings. He had aces last time against kings.
Kings are looking pretty good this time, though, as his competition also is holding a king. That's going to be Pat with a dominated king.
Backdoor flush is all he's hoping for, and that's not. He's done with the hand.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe board for him to get away.
Yeah, he's got.
Let's see if he chooses to. He's.
Oh, he did call.
He's going to peel once here. And yeah, I was wondering if he's going to try and use some overcards as bluffing opportunities. Let's see.
The stack size is a little bit off. It says he has 213. You can see he has 2 black chips, 2 green chips, so he has at least like 270.
Yeah,
so it's like $50 off. Probably that $50 call that Brandon made that they took out of his stack.
For sure.
Just a little bit off. That's fine.
Looks like he folds and Brandon wins. Kimmy, definitely not saying that vibration that I've seen in the other video, that one to me is almost ridiculous, because if you were making a vibrating device, then you would never use something that was going to vibrate so much that it would vibrate your entire body and your chair and the table around you. That's crazy. So to me, it would be a totally separate thing where, you know, that could have just been the device itself. But again, I hate to even speculate on those things, because I haven't seen anything to really make me feel like she was doing anything wrong. And instead, I feel like this has kind of been ruined for her in the moment, where she made an incredible play, put her money on the line, and is now having to take the wrath of the poker community, or at least half of it. And I agree that
Yeah.
The general sentiment is that Garrett's going to look really, really bad after this if he doesn't have any further evidence of being wronged. I mean, I'm just thinking about it from the perspective of if I was playing in a game, you know, some people were getting on to her buddy Rip for getting mad at Garrett. And, you know, it seems like maybe he was backing her in the game, and that's fine. You know, maybe that was part of why he was upset. But even if I didn't know the lady.
Right. I would still be mad at him.
Exactly.
And that's what I was about to say. If I don't know her and some guy's bullying anybody, not just because it's a female or whatever,
Yeah.
and a recreational player.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm
Especially when he's known to be one of the biggest winners in the game historically.
Yeah.
His face is all over the marketing. And then you see him, finally, one of the recreational players makes a superhero move against him, and it works out. She scoops 2 pots in a coin flip situation and beats him out of a really good-sized pot. She's excited. And then 5 minutes later, you see her out in the hallway being cornered by the pro, and she's for some reason giving him his money back. Oh, I'd be
livid.
I'd be livid. It's a great word for it.
Baseball says, "Why was her chair vibrating?"
Seems like her leg was shaking.
I don't know the answer to that. I have not watched.
Just very, very
So I can't comment
speculative evidence of her chair and body appearing to vibrate, but it looked to me like she was just shaking her legs. Can't imagine that if you created a vibrating device that you would want it to vibrate so much that it made your whole torso vibrate and your chair. That seems crazy. So it looks like we did get a bomb pot going here.
Oh, we just pushed Cisco in the pot, so they are running a Texas Hold'em bomb pot, which the players did not want to do a Hold'em bomb pot, but I think the gamble got into them. They said, "Fine, we'll do it." Or it's a flip. Nope, it's not a flip. Never mind.
Looks like Evan.
When it went check, 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 I thought it was a flip. But,
Gotcha.
But it is a double board bomb pot.
Yeah, and it looks like Evan flopped the best of it with the trip queens. Oh, and he turns a queen on the other board, so he's kind of got this one locked up here.
For people watching who do not know what a double board bomb pot is, because I didn't know until I came to Texas 2 years ago, everybody puts in a set amount, like probably $50, and you deal out the cards, and then you run 2 boards. 2 flops, and then there's a round of betting, and then 2 turns, a round of betting, and then 2 rivers. So you have 2 full boards, and it's basically a chop pot. You win the top or you win the bottom.
No doubt. And AA has a draw here on the paired board. Woodley has a draw on the other board. Let's see if either of these guys can get there to take half of this pot away from Evan.
No.
2 bricks.
Everything for $710.
It does. Unfortunately, neither one of them have much. They
No.
each have a bad pair on each board. I don't know if he's going to get paid, but
No, not at all. I mean, I don't think so.
yeah. But there is $700 in the middle, so I'm sure he's going to be pretty happy to scoop
I
a
think
split
actually
pot.
AA might call with that 7.
Maybe.
Because you don't put Evan on a queen because there's 3 of them out there, and the 10 came on the river, so he might think Evan's betting on the bottom board and his 7 is good on the top board, so he might call $100, $200.
Yeah, maybe if he makes a really small bet like that. I don't know if Evan will have that kind of control to target those hands. Let's see what he bets.
$250.
Okay. I don't think he's going to get called for that, but
Oh, he didn't.
no, they snap fold. Yeah, maybe if he wanted to target some of those weaker pairs and try and get a hero call, you could go a little smaller than that. But I think anyone who has a 7 or 5 is just going to be so afraid. I mean, there is still one queen out there, and everybody saw the flop.
Yep.
So there's just a pretty good chance someone has it.
Yeah.
Nice little pot for Evan.
That was fun.
That was fun. And we have cracked 60 viewers for the first time. Excited to have you guys with us.
Let's go. It looks like they're all on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad we shut down the Facebook stream for 2 hands
Definitely.
to go live on YouTube.
Definitely, guys. Glad to have you with us. We got Next Gen Poker here tonight at Poker House Dallas, playing a little 2-5, 1,500 cap action.
And if you did not know, if you haven't heard, it is Frankie's 23rd birthday.
Yes, happy birthday, Frank. He's got his Chiefs jersey on tonight. We got little Chiefs and Bucks action coming up later on Sunday Night Football, and I know Frankie's excited to watch that. Got a little Travis Kelce jersey there.
Brandon eating those Skittles.
Yeah. Little casual Skittles bet.
Jack is not playing tonight. By Jack, does he mean Jello?
He means jelly, I believe.
Jelly.
Mr. Jelly had...
Prior commitment.
Exactly. He was in the chat with us here a little while ago. I'm not sure if he's still watching, but happy to interact with him. And we're going to get him back in the mix, I'm sure, next week.
So why is Pat calling $25 with just king high? And then, I mean, he's got some... because he had plans for this hand.
Yeah. Pat is... And it looks like he has check called again on the turn.
Wow. I just expect... I don't understand.
And we go to showdown.
At all. He thought king high was good?
Maybe.
Blind?
I mean, part of that could just be a little tilt. Hasn't been going that well so far.
Maybe he just wants to dust off those couple of chips so he can get a full rebuy.
Maybe.
I've done that before.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got 200 left. Let's just get rid of
Let's just get it in there. Double it or rebuy.
Yeah.
For sure. And Knock, wow, he's really run up a stack here. I'm guessing he was in for 1,500.
I believe so.
And is now sitting on about 4K. Going well. I'm really digging this outfit from Pat, too. This sort of has some Native American vibes to me.
I like it.
What do you think about that?
Pat in the hat.
AA's raised up the 6-5 suited here and gets defended by Woodley. Who actually has him dominated, but probably doesn't realize it. We're going to take a flop. Comes a couple of hearts for AA, so pretty good chance he's going to be able to get Woodley off the best hand here.
Oh, we have a new player. QC must have left.
He has left the
Oh.
building.
He comes to the table. Is anyone here over 21?
Got a new player joining us here. I have seen him around many times. Can't recall his name at the moment. I'm sure we'll see here in a second.
Yeah, he's a staple of Poker House. Poker.
Awesome. Glad he's getting an opportunity to play on the stream here then. Derek digging the Jack 4 bounty. Thanks for the love, Derek, and thanks for joining the stream. Looking forward to playing some more mix with you soon. We're going to be trying to get some mix games going all over town here, and specifically at Poker House, we're looking to get a 1530 limit mix game going. And that would have some draw games, some stud games, some combination. Looks like Derek is going to be dealing some mix this week. Awesome. Not as fun as playing, but still a good time. We're also going to be looking to get a 2-5 game going regularly here at Poker House of Dallas every night of the week. This 1,500 cap game, just like they're playing here tonight. And as you can see, this game has plenty of action.
Big Fish.
Big Fish. And he is going to come in with the $55 raise with the 9-deuce offsuit. And it looks like he's going to be a good guy to have in the game.
He's fun.
Woodley takes a flop with him. And they both whiff. Is Big Fish going to find a way to whittle this pot away from Woodley?
Oh, I would bet Big Fish wins this hand if 10 doesn't show up. Oh, I fold.
Yeah.
No, Woodley just took it away when you Big Fish's time to win that was on the flop.
Yeah.
He needed to c-bet one time.
Do you think Woodley would have folded the straight draw and the backdoor flush draw there?
I don't know for sure.
Justin and Kimmy sharing their opinions here in the chat. Justin, I just got to say, even if she offered the money, I feel like unless you had some further evidence of her doing something wrong other than just making what you considered to be a suspicious play, I don't think I would take the money, even if she offered.
Right. What he was referencing is when Kimmy said he asked for the money.
Sure.
And now Justin says that she offered the money. I think it's... I would have to watch the interview, but I think it's kind of semantics where if he asked for the money, she goes, well, I'll give it back to you if you come play.
Right.
You know, he's like, man, I think you cheated, whatever. I don't know. I want my money back. And well, I'll give it back to you if you come play.
Yeah, it sounds like what she was saying in interviews after that, after things had calmed down a little bit,
When she had
was
time
that
to
it was sort of in
process.
between where she was like, what can I do to get things to settle down to make this
And
right?
he asked for it,
and
so
he
she
said,
offered
well,
it.
you could give me my money and that would make it right. You know, and she's like, okay, fine. Well, let's just do that then. And some people took that as an admission of guilt, which I think is ridiculous. I mean, the amount of money is totally relative to the person's life and situation. So for her, it may have been no big deal to say, you know, okay, fine. I want to just like not cause trouble, take this money and let's go play poker.
Especially when she's getting staked and it's not even real money to her.
Yeah, sure.
You know, it's like Monopoly money.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you land on Boardwalk, you don't have enough. I had a hotel. Okay, fine. Just take the money
Just
back.
take it,
I
whatever.
mean, whatever. Let's just keep playing.
Exactly. And her buddy Rip actually went on Joe Ingram's podcast and I thought did a really good job of answering the questions. And you could tell that the two of them are both totally recreational. We're doing this as like an experience.
Super
you
fun.
know? Yeah, you go on live stream, you get to play really high stakes poker, higher than you normally would.
All right, let's see what we have here. While we were missing a hand, Evan had top pair and Brandon had a mystery hand. His hand did not get read. Mike's going to manually type it in right now. I saw 2 red cards, possibly. Oh, okay. So,
Looks like Brandon bricked out on, well, they couldn't have both had the 8 of
no,
hearts there.
this is wrong because Brandon's stacking the chips. So this is exactly why I wanted Mike to do this, because when I'm gone, I won't be able to help them.
Yeah,
So
he's got to learn about the
he's got, you know, we're
semantics of
throwing
it.
him in the deep side of the pool and let him swim. Yeah, he says Big Fish will never get kicked off the VPIP game. I love it. So, Eddie will go, or excuse me, Mike will go back and watch the stream, see, and he recognizes stuff he does wrong, and he'll get it fixed for next time.
Yeah, no big deal. We're working the kinks out here.
The blinds chop. That's why I like 1-2-5 instead of just 2-5. Then the blinds don't chop. Eddie, 8 p.m. training, dealer training, action tracker training. Yes, sir. If you want to come in here, I would love that.
Yeah, just to finish that thought, I was saying that Rip actually went on the show with Joe Ingram, and I thought did a really good job of explaining their perspective, and that, you know, sometimes Robbie makes crazy calls because she just wants to see if she's right. She's got a feeling, you know, and whatever, it's their money. They can do what they want with it. So, yeah, I feel a little bad for her. Unless there's further evidence presented from Garrett, who at one point made it seem like he might have something, but it feels like at this point he would have brought it forward if he did. I'm not sure about that. Maybe legally he has some reason to withhold it for now, but unless that happens, I feel like this is going to go down as a pretty bad day for Garrett.
Yeah, and I don't trust the legal system at all in this situation, as much as a court of poker players. You know, referencing back to Apostle, where they found him innocent when everybody knows he was guilty. Like, it wasn't even close. Back to the action. Evan turns the ace against Brandon's flopped queen. Evan did bet 105 on the flop. Brandon did call.
Evan's got the check mark.
That means the other two queens have been folded.
Yeah.
So Brandon has no outs.
That makes sense. And now it's just going to be a matter of how much can Evan get out of him. Looks like Brandon is doing the betting for him, though, on the turn, and then checks the river here. And Evan quickly checks it back. Doesn't go for the thin value on the end.
Oh yeah, if you're trapping me with a 4, I don't want to put in 200 and have you pile it into me, and I have to fold now.
And he's chopping with other jacks. That would be worse than jack. With other aces. That would be worse than ace jack, with the queen being on the board there. So you would be betting to. You could go for a really small size to try and get called by a queen, or you could go for a really large size to try and scare him off of an ace, but he decides just to go to showdown, which makes sense to me.
All right, Justin, we're glad to have you.
No doubt. And Garrett did think he 100% got cheated from the way he talked about it, but to me that's a ridiculous presumption unless you have further evidence than just her playing a hand weird.
I do believe he thinks he got cheated. That he wasn't just a sore loser wanting his money back. I believe he thinks he got cheated because that's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah,
in his
sure.
mind.
I agree, but I think he just jumped the gun on that assumption.
Right. In the heat of the moment, who knows what I would do.
I don't know. I'd be surprised to see you take that money back personally.
Oh, no, I wouldn't take the money, but
if you do think you got cheated, then you can go to the production crew and say, I want to do an investigation here because I think I got cheated.
Sure.
And then, pursue getting your money back at that point. But
I saw Alan Kessler, I think it was, posted, put the money in escrow, do a full investigation, and...
But is that really fair to Robbie? Why would her money need to be in escrow when she didn't do anything
already
wrong?
doesn't have the money.
Oh, that's
so
fair.
before he spends it, let's just wrap this up really quickly.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess I would just say Garrett should just give the money back and then if that investigation reveals, because right now there's no reason for him to be holding her money.
I agree with that also. The only thing is playing devil's advocate. He gives the money back. They find out she did cheat. Yeah. Now he can't get it back again.
Sure. So, which is why he took it in the first place, he said. But yeah, I mean, if you're as rich as Garrett too, it's like I'd rather just take the risk and save my reputation. Because if he's wrong, he basically as a poker player, a huge part of your career, the way you make money, your reputation, but also just like analyzing situations and using all the pieces of logic to make good decisions. And here it feels to me like he decided to go all in. His entire reputation is on the line, and he does not have the best of it. It was not a good play.
That was a tilt play for sure.
Yeah, exactly. He tilted his whole reputation away. Oh goodness, Garrett. I'm gonna feel a little bad for him, but anyway. All right, I'm sorry. We're back in the mix here.
Everybody quit talking about this.
It is interesting stuff. I spent quite a few hours watching the Joey stream.
So you see the button here? There's $7 on it. You know how this works, right?
Yeah.
All right, so for the people at home who do not know how this works, when the button comes around, the players put $1 on it. I'll answer you in just a second, Kingfish. The players put $1 on the button, and when the player the button wins, the dealer gets that as a fun tip.
Are we stuck?
We were stuck 15 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. So we got it fixed.
It's a 15-minute delay. I fixed it about 15 minutes ago, and we'll see it pop around.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. The camera, you got to keep an eye on it because it will get hooked on one player. It's supposed to be moving every time the action changes. So.
Yes. And if the person running the action tracker goes too fast, it gets locked up.
Oh, and we're going to have a big pot here.
Another one.
Oh, Pat's only got the $85. Well, as I remember that that tracker was off just a little bit. It looks like he's got $140. So Rosie raises. Pat is all in. Rosie's going to snap call. And it's been a tough run right here for Pat. And he gets it in with 2 queens, and it's still no good.
Yeah.
And again, Kingfish, sorry about that. The camera angle's not changing. They will be here any minute. For now, we're good, as Pat is the one all in. And that's all he's got for tonight. It looks like he's out of here. You're right, Kimmy. This is crazy. We've had a lot of setup hands here. Big pair versus big pair.
Yeah, we've only been streaming for an hour and a half hour on Facebook, and then an hour on all 3 platforms. And we've had so many big hands running each other. Kings into aces and queens into kings, and just 8s into queens and kings.
Absolutely. Pat's going to be out of here, and we're going to...
Ace, king into king, king. Just so many big hands. And there we are, 15 minutes later. It's rotating again.
Nice. The chat this week has been very friendly. We appreciate that, guys.
I knew you meant Kimmy, not Jimmy. That's Min, tournament director here at Poker House.
Nice.
Using his family YouTube account to watch. Big fish outflops him with the jack.
Knocks out of there with the gut shot. Looks like he defended pre-flop from the big blind. Woodley's got an underpair to the board, but he does have a backdoor straight draw and a backdoor flush draw, and
he
decides
doesn't
to float.
trust big fish.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a big part of it. He calls, and they're going to take a turn.
Yes, Min, they are playing Jack 4 tonight. It's already been won twice. Don't get us started on Jack 4. Okay, he does believe him now.
Yeah, interesting that he decides to fold for the same size on the turn. Same size bet as he did on the flop. I guess he's just thinking
believes him now.
Like, yeah, it's just like, well,
tell me twice.
He's got something.
Tell me twice.
Yeah.
You know, even the 6 beats him. Yes, Eddie, I agree. I think the new ATEM switch that we've ordered might fix that problem. But it's user error. You know, it's like slamming on the brakes and wondering why your car stops so fast. You know, we need to teach the people running action tracker to not do it improperly. And Mike is doing a great job. It's only locked up the one time on us.
So Big Fish is still in the mix there. Opening to $50 on the button with the ace-8 offsuit. Gets defended by Woodley in the straddle. No surprise. And it's a good flop for Woodley. Flops a flush draw and backdoor straight draw, and then makes the flush immediately.
Bink. No waiting.
Yeah. Unfortunately for him, Big Fish doesn't have much. And
yeah, he just
snap
folds for a $30 bet.
Yeah.
VPIP, 51% for Woodley, 17 for Evan and Knock, 19 for Frankie and Athura. Athura?
Athrea.
Athrea.
I believe.
I was so close.
That was close. That was good
Big
effort.
Fish and Brandon, 44 and 43 respectively. I'm going to write down Athrea. Athrea. Now watch, I write it down wrong, and I never do get his correct name.
Like Knock's going to open the button with the 8 deuce suited. A little light, but seems all right to me. It's going to get called by Woodley with the 9-3 suited. Couple of junky hands taking a flop. Little battle here.
So did it just fold around to the button?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Woodley's got all of it.
Yeah, he sure
He's got the
does. He
flush
flops
draw,
a better
he's got-
pair and a flush draw.
Knock needs an 8 or an 8, and they're both live.
Goes check on the flop. Checks back his bottom pair, and
Jack ball.
yeah. Kind of doubt he's gonna get anything out of him here.
I believe they do have 9 players, unless they have not replaced Pat in the Hat, who just busted.
And Knock does just give it up. Woodley takes it down. Yeah, Poker Monkey. We will see if we get that seat filled. Zorro, what's up, my man? Buddy Zorro Gomez. Made a trip out to LA with him one time.
I love that name.
Yeah, it's a cool name.
Zorro Gomez.
Yeah.
You're too young to remember the Zorro cartoons.
I mean, I know of Zorro for sure with the slashing
Yep,
Z.
the sword.
Yeah, the sword, yeah, but can't remember watching too much of it. I think I might have seen one of the live action Zorro films when I was growing
yeah,
up.
there was a couple of good ones.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the cartoon I lived on in the 80s.
Nice.
Possibly the 70s, actually.
Really? That far back, huh?
I mean, now I got to Google it. But I did look into the future, and we do have that seat filled.
Nice.
No, that's the wrong one.
It's not match stack. It's just 1,500 cap. Yeah, last night was a little different.
Oh, yeah, the new player wants to match the stack. And
Yeah.
he said, no, it's 1,000. He's like, but last night, oh, yes, I remember it was Lone Ranger and Zorro.
Teaming up, huh?
Boom.
Okay, yeah.
I'm Googling stuff. I want to buy that now. Back to the action.
AA has got
Threa.
a monster flop here.
Top pair, flush draw. Now Woodley turns a flush draw.
Brandon turns 2 pair. This is going to be a spicy little turn card here. I'm curious how the action's going to go.
Everybody, oh, wow, this is great. I know Cisco's waiting for a Threa to win this.
Check,
he
check,
pick
and
up that-
Threa does bet. I wouldn't have been surprised, actually, to see him check here on the turn and take the free card, but he does decide to bet.
No, he's got to think that that's a value bet. He's got top pair. He's got the flush draw.
Yeah, but your top pair doesn't have a very good kicker.
When it checks to you, I'm not worried about kickers. When it goes check, check.
Let's see if Woodley makes a play. Looks like he just calls. He does.
I don't know what I do if I'm Brandon Call, I guess.
Brandon calls. We're going to take this one 3 ways.
Wow.
Yeah, the river brings a one-liner, and I'm wondering if Woodley might make a play at this. If he doesn't, I think it's probably going to go check, check, check.
Yeah, they all have showdown value.
Yeah, Woodley checks, checks,
Yep.
and checks. And Brandon's going to win it with his 2 pair. No one takes it away from him. Wouldn't have been surprised there to see Woodley make a little lead play with his bricked off draw, but maybe he thought his queen was good enough occasionally to take it to showdown.
I love this guy.
Okay, great. We're going to have some action coming in, huh?
He came in yesterday and he immediately said, what's the max straddle?
Nice.
5X.
That's always a good question.
He goes, get the game out of the muck.
Get the game out of the muck.
He gamble.
Looks like he's got a sweet Gucci hat there. All right.
Yeah, and he went. He wanted to bring his whole stack over, and Frankie said no, it's 1,500 max. So he's got 5, 10, 15, 16, 17. No, he's got $2,000 in front of him. So I don't know if they made an exception. I don't really care. It's their game. He can do what he wants. with it.
Sure. Looks like they are going to make an exception for him here, and
Game is out of the muck.
yeah, he's got about $2,000, a little over $2,000 in front of him.
Now the other thing is, if he was at a different game and he won it, then you're required to have it in front of you.
But I don't think they have any other 2-5 games.
Yeah,
going
you're right.
now.
You're right. They don't have any 2-5, so he didn't win this at a 2-5 game.
All right, so we're seeing Frankie lay the trap right here. He's going to go for the $5 limp under the gun with the queens. And
Quan steps right in it.
yeah, he does. Right off the bat, Quan's got a very playable hand. Goes for the isolation. And no, I'm curious if Rosie is going to even continue with these sixes. He's well aware that Frankie has a very strong under the gun limping range. And he does decide to just fold it. I think that's a great perceptive fold from Rosie, and he's going to be really thrilled whenever he watches this right here.
That he's not worried about Quan or Woodley. He knows Frankie's limping.
Exactly. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's set off the spider senses.
Exactly. He's afraid of the limper, not the razor or the collar. And that is going to make him happy to see that as Frankie does come in with the limp squeeze.
Yep, he's fist.
Gotta love it.
He's like, oh, yeah, I knew that.
And Quan's probably not going anywhere. I have a feeling that he came in here to give action and is gonna be in there.
Min said he won all that in the 1-2 game.
I believe it.
That's a juicy game. Probably the same one that Brandon lost 1900 and QC won it.
Okay, so Quan does make the call. Oh my goodness.
This is bad for Quan.
Yeah, we might see it all go in here.
It shows 1,300 in his stack.
Yeah, that can't be right.
So Mike put 1,500 max, knowing that was the max, and he actually sat down physically with more.
For sure.
So
looked like he had about 2,000 to start. So now he might have around 1,700 to 1,800.
Yeah.
Those green stacks right there, each one of them is $500. Yep. Each one of those chips is $25. That's for the greens.
Oh, the heart might slow Frankie down.
I don't know that he's going to be scared enough with there already being $1,000 in the middle and Quan only having a pot-sized bet.
Right.
I have a feeling he's just going to keep going for it versus an ace, or especially if Quan could have a hand like 2 pair, like an ace-9, an ace-queen, a pocket nines, ace-king. He does keep coming and...
Bet 200 on the flop, 300 on the turn.
Yeah, and I think with that size, maybe he's kind of giving up on the idea of stacking Quan here and instead thinking he's just going to go for 3 smaller streets of value. He does get called here.
How much of that is he's afraid of a flush, or how much of that is just value betting?
I think it's more so that he just thinks that Quan is going to be afraid of the flush, and so he wants to make sure he gets called by worse hands. And maybe it's also a little bit that he's afraid of the flush and doesn't want to
control.
Yeah, you don't want Quan to only call you with the
Never mind.
flush.
He says all in.
Yeah, he goes for it.
I'm done playing.
Yeah.
Give me the rest of that.
Again, that number on the screen is not right, guys, as Quan has at least, looks like 1,300. And he snap calls. Wow. And Frankie does get it all. I thought Quan might get away from a weak ace there on the end.
Quan didn't come here to fold.
But Frankie read it correctly and thinks Quan's not here to fold an ace.
Right.
And was that his first hand?
Yes.
Literal first hand. Frankie scoops a monster pot against him, and this is going very well for the next gen boys so far. Several huge pots won. Frankie, wise enough to know what sizes to go to get called the whole stack on the flushing board.
2, 3, 16.
Bang, says Poker Monkey, and bang is right. Look at that. Frankie stacking all of those chips, and Quan is back in the mix and might be happy right now that Frankie did not allow him to buy in for match the stack.
Right.
Although maybe it would have helped him get away from that hand at some point, but yeah, it looked like
happy birthday, Frankie.
No doubt. Happy birthday, Frankie. Yeah, KC says nice B-Day present, no doubt.
I'm going to run grab a Dr. Pepper. Do you want something?
I'm good right now. I appreciate it.
Be right back.
See you in a minute. All right, guys, we got 68 of you guys in the viewers right now. If we can get that to crack 70, it'll be the first time for this next-gen poker stream. Last week was the first week of doing it, and we're keeping it rolling. We're going to have this going every single Sunday. Last week it was 1-3, and now we've bumped it up to 2-5, 1,500 cap, and I have a feeling it'll probably stay at that 2-5 number for a while. There you see Frankie stacking up all those chips. Looks like he's in a good mood. Watching the Chiefs on his birthday and stacking some huge pots. He's got a 4K stack going now, and Knock, the editor for Next Gen, does all of their poker vlogs. Also almost has a 4K stack there. So Atreya here has a very playable hand and opens it up with the 8-7 suited. You know Woodley's not going anywhere with the suited ace and does pounce into 3-bet him. Goes 30-75, and actually I'm a huge fan of this sizing from Woodley. I feel like it's not really necessary to go much bigger. What you're trying to do is achieve an isolation, and it's kind of thin for value anyway, you know, with Atreya going to a larger sizing, earlier position open. So you really want to keep him in with even the weakest parts of his opening range. If you start to slice that off and only get called by the stronger parts of it at a larger 3-bet sizing, kind of start to value own yourself with the ace deuce. He does get called by the 8-7 here, which I'm sure was his target, but gets a horrible flop and just checks it back. That does allow AA to realize his equity, as I'm sure he was going to be out of there if Woodley had a C-bet. And now AA has turned the pair and decides to make a small bet for protection / some value from draws and ace highs. And Woodley reads it as weakness and immediately pounces on it. And that's why Woodley is so tough to play against. You know, Eric's back in the booth with us here, and Eric, Woodley just 3-bet with the ace-deuce suited, gets it heads up, great play, and then decides to check on this flop, which is kind of a total brick for him. But when the 7 comes and AA leads small, now Woodley says, I was planning to give up, but now that I recognize weakness from my opponent, I'm pouncing on it. Yeah. And he steals it right away from him with the immediate raise. And you can see there, Woodley is playing 54% VPIP, the only player in the game over 50%, which is pretty high, and definitely makes a player tough to play against because they are capable of having a lot more hands in situations that other players might not even have those hands. So, for example, if a board comes out kind of dry, for a lot of players, you can eliminate hands like the 2 pairs or even some of the sets. And for Woodley, it's just hard to ever eliminate any specific hand entirely. So it looks like we have straddle on here. A couple of limps, and then Evan goes for the ISO and the cutoff with the 10-7 suited. Don't blame him. I know he's wanting to get in there, and this time he's going to pay for it as Brandon is going to 3-bet him in the big blind. He's going to drive out those limpers. Well, no, he's not. It looks like Woodley is going to come in anyway with the cold call. Little limp cold call. I'm assuming he wouldn't do that if he was out of position, but here he's probably thinking, I've got my own lane. I kind of doubt these guys are competing on boards that are good for 9-5 suited. And, you know, just going to take a flop and see what happens. Everybody whiffs, and it's going to be interesting to see who's able to leverage this away.
Who's most aggressive?
Yeah, and I'm not surprised at all if it ends up being the, well, Ace Queen gave up the lead, and then now Evan makes a really healthy bet, and it looks like he's going to take it. I'd be very surprised to see Woodley reverse float.
At it.
Yeah, I mean, as I just mentioned, like pre-flop, when you have position on the 3-better, then you take the flop and, you know, kind of control the action. But here, like reverse floating, and there's very few good turn cards for you. So
did you see what Quan did? Quan in the 3-seat in the small blind. Dakari, he folded pre-flop. He had 5 out there in the 2-5 game. Dakari threw him his change. Quan threw it back to him. as a tip.
Nice.
That was awesome.
Yeah, nice guy. And DK deserves that. DK is one of the nicest dealers in the room. I love having him come to my table. He's just a super friendly and laid-back guy. Really enjoyed chatting with him. Preston in the chat saying that we're killing the commentary. Appreciate that. And what's up to you? Appreciate you being here. If you want to pay us back for the killer commentary, then how about dropping a like and a subscription? Because we're going to be here every single Sunday doing this.
Get a share in there somewhere.
Yeah, give us a share. It makes like a fun little dinging sound, and
You see your name.
yeah, and we get to shout out your name.
Boom.
Boom.
Frankie with J and the J.
Little Jello. Shout out to Mr. Jelly at home watching.
35 in the cutoff.
Woodley's going to give him a little limp call action with the 7-4. He is mixing it up. As we were just saying a second ago, he's capable of having anything at any time.
He's
And
got it.
it pays off big time here.
And so Frankie's... Oh, chop it up.
Wow.
We call those
Interesting.
opportunities.
Yeah, and it just goes check, 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 check. Check, check.
Two jacks that are no good.
Yeah, and Frankie decides not to take a stab at that one there. Any point along the
There it
way,
is.
and
Bryce,
there it is.
Bryce Rodstrom.
Thank you, Bryce. Shout out to Bryce, and anyone else who clicks that button will get a little shout out too.
Yeah, they were afraid of the ace.
We almost cracked the 70 viewer count while you were gone.
Oh.
Got it up to 68 at one point.
And they all left when they all came. They all came up when Michael Kelly.
Let's
liked the
go.
stream.
Thank you, Michael. Are those liked on YouTube, or is that do we get a notification if it's on any platform?
Any platform,
Nice.
I believe.
Awesome, guys. I think I'm going to go on there right now and give ourselves a like.
Do it, like it, share it. I'm gonna do it too. You can share it. I'm gonna do it too. Oh,
And there we are.
there's me.
Boom. Hit it with the like button. See if we get a little pop-up.
We're on like a 10-second buffer, so it'll just take a second to pop up. Like, I just liked it as Poker House Live. Hey, Gracie. The self high fives.
From Zorro.
That's me.
And there's Poker House Dallas liking the live stream. And we definitely appreciate Poker House Dallas. You guys come down and check out the action. We've got the room filling up on a nightly basis now. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cash games going at a time often. We got a mix of games. 1, 2 deep stack $500 buy-in games. We've got some mixed games as big as 5,100 popping off. Got some bigger no limit games going on the stream and in the back rooms. Everything's just going great around here.
My buddy from Bemidji, Minnesota, Julian Dreyer, likes the stream.
Nice. Appreciate that, Julian.
Knockout flops Big Fish and Brandon with the 8.
Yes, he does. He's got this hand on lockdown here.
I don't believe there's a 7-card stud, Adrian.
We are going to be playing a mixed game, Adrian, trying to get that going either on Monday or Tuesdays. We're kind of still in the works of getting everybody here at the same time. We're going to be having a list going for that, though. So if you check on Poker Atlas, you're going to see a 1530 limit mix game. And when we get that game going, it is going to have a stud and draw mix. We're going to play all of those classic games, stud 8, stud high, Raz. And then the draw games do 7, Badoogie, and maybe a mixture of both, like some Badesi, Badusi. Be happy to have you guys. No, Eddie, that's not for the stream. That is just...
You break my cards. On Eddie's birthday, we played a bunch of mixed games. They had to teach me everything.
Nice.
Badoogie had to teach me the rules, and
I love those
it was
games.
so fun.
Yeah, that's
I have a selfie with like 400 white chips in front of me. We were playing
Nice.
6. Just a fun game.
No doubt.
I ended up tipping out and losing and being down $5 for the night, but we tipped extensively.
Yeah, sure.
It was a fun birthday game in the private high stakes room over there.
Nice. And $5 for a night of playing fun games with your buds is
so
totally worth it.
Yeah, it was great. Gracie tipped to our donate to our tip jar.
Yeah, I think probably my favorite of those games has got to be the stud games. I really like when you can see some of your opponent's
Everything,
cards,
yeah.
but not all of them. Gives you like a lot more to do in the hand. You know, you're trying to analyze like how does this card affect what I thought they had
Exactly.
before,
And what are they representing? You know, like
Exactly.
the classic rounders when he walks into the judge's game.
Yeah, exactly.
Eddie says the only winners on his birthday were the dealers, and I think all the dealers will attest to that.
I'd believe that if you're playing 3-6 and then tipping extensively.
Yeah.
I'm sure they appreciated that. Quan's out of there, and Brandon, who 3 bets and makes a C bet, is going to take it down.
I personally realize that these games take so long, you have to tip more than normal because this isn't like they're not getting 20 hands out and a down. They're getting like 7 hands out. In
The mixed games you're talking
so
about?
you should triple your normal tip. So, we were higher than normal anyway. So,
Sure. And especially if you've got a dealer who's stuck only dealing that game for a long time, as opposed to the one who's just rotating through for 30 minutes. You know?
no, they were rotating.
Oh, okay. Were
Yeah,
they?
they were rotating through.
Just
And
trying
everybody
to-
had a good time, and I think everybody was tipping like $10 a hand.
Nice. I'm sure they definitely appreciated that.
It was fun. It was a fun time, and they got to do something other than hold them for 9 hours.
For sure. Yeah, we've actually had quite a few mixed games going up here, anywhere from 2040 up to 5100. That goes 2 or 3 times a week, but we're trying to get a smaller game going, introduce more people to the games. And if you are new to them, then do not worry. We are happy to explain the rules, kind of walk you through it. If you want to sit out of a game and watch for a few minutes, no one's going to give you a hard time. We're just trying to make them a little more popular so we can get those mixed games going on a daily basis.
So Evan, under the gun +1, makes it 20. Folds her on to Knock, who makes it 65. Woodley limps in for 65. Evan 4 bets to 250.
Yeah.
And Knock folds his ace-jack. Now Woodley's got the ace-7 suited. I don't think he's going to come along, but...
So this was Evan raise, Knock 3 bets, Woodley cold calls.
Yep.
Is that what happened? Okay.
Yep. It went...
Yeah, and then Evan 4 bets. All makes sense so far. I'd say all of those plays are pretty standard except for the cold call with the ace-7, and I'm not really surprised to see that. I know Woodley's trying to get in there.
$60 3-way for sure.
Yeah.
And now we're up to a green chip on that button.
Yeah, wow.
What, when the first time I saw this, I said, well, so the dealer's going to eventually get it, so it doesn't matter. And then I realized, unless the button doesn't win in a
Yeah,
half hour
exactly.
and the dealer pushes,
Exactly.
the
That's
next
part of the
dealer
game.
might get it.
For sure. And you see Frankie with that banana on top of his stack. It looks like he is colored up. And those beautiful yellow chips are $1,000 each. Those black chips you see sitting out in front of the stacks, like right there to the right of Frankie's hand. Those black chips are $100 each. An entire stack or tower of them, which not everyone stacks them exactly the same, but typically you'll see people stack them in 20s. So a stack of 20 black chips is $2,000. A stack of 20 green chips is $500. A stack of 20 red chips is $100, and the white chips are singles, so that'd be $20. And then the purples are $500. There's a couple of purples. I think Rosie had a couple of them. Those purple chips are beautiful.
They are.
Yeah, and then the yellow ones are actually slightly larger than all of the other chips and also very good looking. So got a couple of big hands here. Looks like AA open, Woodley flats in the small blind, and Evan squeezes in the straddle, which then just gets called by AA. Could have potentially gone for a 4-bet there, especially with Woodley still left to act behind him. But
I agree.
yeah, call seems okay too, though.
He's on the button, so he gets to act last. And this is...
Oh my goodness. And Woodley This is what you get when you play these hands, right? No one expects that he can even have a 2 right here.
Nobody has a 2 to a raise and a re-raise.
Exactly.
You don't have a 2.
Exactly. But Woodley can have a 2.
Wow.
And now he is going to be able to put Mr. AA in a heck of a spot. Evan is totally whiffed, which is good for him to save his money.
Yeah, 365. What do you bet? 200? 150?
Makes sense. And Woodley snap shoves it all in. Wow. And now AA, I don't know that there's any way he can get away from it if he's been watching Woodley play.
Yeah, he's like, you don't have a deuce.
Yeah, like you could easily have a flush draw or a smaller pair, and he snap calls, and this
Once
is
or twice.
tough.
He snap called and says once or twice because I got a deuce. It doesn't matter.
Let's go ahead and turn this up. Saw Threya shake his head there. It's been a tough little go for him. He's like, what the heck? Ace, deuce, offsuit. Are you kidding me? And Woodley says, not kidding, buddy. $2,000 pot. Shipping his way. Looks like they ran it twice, and Woodley ships them both. So sick. Says dysfunctionalism. Let's see if we can hit him with the... Nice hand for Woodley. Flo Hold'em says, what's up, guys? What's up, Flo? You're just coming in on some great action here. We just have Woodley call from the small blind versus a button raise, and then call again when it gets squeezed by the straddle and called by the button. So he goes to the flop after double calling and flops trips. Gets it all in on the flop versus the 2 jacks and ships a huge pot. Dysfunctionalism says he's got 1% of AA in the game. Well, that's tough, bud. You're probably down about $10 right now. Man, we have had some huge pots.
Just coolers.
Yeah, you would almost think that we had gone through and clipped the biggest hands from a stream and put them together.
Like this, yeah.
Every hand is big.
So crazy. It's not like a week of hands and we're just, paring them down to an hour for you.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
Just going crazy.
These are one right after the other, and Athrea's back in there. I'm feeling for him. This has been a tough little run. He's gotten dealt some great hands and has just not had the best of it. Got folded off of his ace-queen suited when it was the best hand earlier, and then got it in with a couple of dominated hands, including the jacks right there. That is a really tough one. Hopefully he can turn it around here. We still got plenty of time. Looks like we got another 2 hours left to go on the stream here, so.
Oh, Brandon wow.
Wow. We're back in business immediately with Brandon looking down at the 2 red aces.
Yeah, poker's easy.
Poker's easy when you get dealt 2 red aces. He is going to raise it up, and let's see if he gets any action.
Who's going to have the kings, I wonder?
So knocks in there, and it looks like he just flats. This would have been a very acceptable spot to go for a 3-bet, but decides to call this time, and it's going to allow him to see the flop, because I think if he had a 3-bet, he would have ended up getting bet off his hand.
Yeah, ace-jack for Evan in the big blind gets a little discount.
Yeah, and I'm sure Brandon kind of wishes Knock had have raised, because now it's going to allow several people to see this flop.
4-way for $20. Wow, Brandon has the best flush draw.
Yeah.
Evan does pick up top pair, top kicker.
Yeah, it's a good flop for him. Someone improves, but not nearly enough to beat him. And actually, the guy who improved is almost dead. And the guy who's got the best chance to beat him, which would be Knock now in this case, is just going to have to fold his open-ended straight draw because of the 3 diamonds.
And the jack of clubs was folded, so he has 1 out, and it's irrelevant now.
Brandon turns what is almost the nuts. There's a couple of straight flush draws out there, but goes check, check on the turn as Brandon tries to get a little tricky. And now on the river, it pairs. And he goes for a big overbet, and he's going to miss out.
Yeah.
Goodness, he's going to miss out on getting any value there from the ace-jack. Maybe at any point, if he had a bet, he would have just folded. I'm not sure, but.
Yeah, I don't know how much Evan can call into a, what was it?
There's about $250 out there, I believe. A little bit of an overbet, maybe
Garrett's-
200.
Garrett's late to the game. We are playing the Jack 4, which is similar to the 7 deuce with a $10 bounty, and it's already gone off twice tonight.
Yeah. One really big one. We had a 4-bet pot earlier with the Jack 4 offsuit. 4-bet to $630 called, and then on
By
the
King
flop,
Jack.
yeah, by King Jack. So he's getting dominated, and then he flops a pair of 4s and ends up winning a huge pot, and then scooping the bounties on top of it. So we're playing a little $10 bounty from each player if you scoop a pot with the Jack 4 off. Hashtag free Robbie. And we got 64 viewers here with us right now. Appreciate you guys being here. We're having a good time. We got a lot of crazy hands in the mix tonight. And you got me, Mr. Nick from Haslett House Poker, and Mr. Eric here from Poker House of Dallas, who runs the live stream, the guru of getting all this equipment set up and going. And got a great lineup out there on the table for you. Dysfunctionalism has a shout out for Mr. Knock, Evan, and AA, who are some sickos. And I don't know Mr. AA or Evan personally very well, but all three of these guys do indeed seem like sickos. So we got an ace king in the mix who opens it. It is AA getting defended a couple of ways from Woodley and then Frankie here in the big blind. It's a brick board except for Woodley flopping.
Bottom pair, no kicker.
Yeah, exactly.
And notice these seat numbers are gone now. Makes it look a little cleaner.
No doubt, we appreciate that. We're working on little things like that to clean up the stream for you guys day by day, week by week, trying to deliver the best product that we can for you. And we would love to see you come down here and play some poker at Poker House Dallas. Get involved in the games. Get involved in the stream.
Flo Hold'em, a professional for the last 11 months.
Wow. Literally started playing because of Haslett House Poker. Wow, Flo, that is quite the compliment, dude. I really appreciate you saying that and appreciate you following us back in the day. Sorry we haven't produced anything in a long time, but we're kind of back in the mix here. We're really good buddies with these guys from Next Gen. Been running around with them, playing cards together, taking some trips together, and I'm happy to be here at Poker House doing some commentary for these guys. And they are all doing well in the game, which is a lot of fun to watch too. So
I got to yell at Woodley for being so rough on those cards.
yeah,
He just throws them down.
you got to go out there and give them the biz.
No, but if they break, I'm blaming him. I'll go pull 150 out of his stack.
Dysfunctionalism remembers watching Haslett House too. Thanks, guys. It means a lot to me that you guys remember that. We haven't produced anything in 6 or 7 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, these guys still remember.
Boom. Was that YouTube content then? Back
Yeah,
in the
we
day?
made some vlogs like these boys do, and
Right.
ours was a little bit more lifestyle based. Theirs is very heavy on like the poker strategy part of it, and ours had a little bit of that, but it was more so based around the fact that we were all good buddies, you know, playing cards full time and traveling around together.
What's this lingo they're saying? AA equals AASS? Is that like saying a threa is an ass?
I
Is
think
that
they're
what
saying he is ass, and I think that might be like an inside joke.
Okay.
I know that they got a buddy named Nico, and shout out if that is Nico in the chat, who
Capitalist.
uses that word in ways that I haven't heard before, and so they have kind of a running joke of just saying everything is ass.
Yes. Frankie in the small blind with 2 6s just limps because there's 5 people in there. He's just set mining now.
Yeah. Looks like not a limp though. I think that was a green chip because it looks like everyone put in 30 here.
Right. But he did. Yeah.
He just calls. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
That's what I meant. He limped. He just called the raise.
Gotcha. Okay, nobody has an ace here, so this is either going to check around or someone's going to make an aggressive play and take it down. Got a couple of players with a pair of 8s.
Quan's just gonna win it with a king.
Yeah, oh, Quan turns a king here, yep. Yep.
I've got 6s.
And it does check around. 6 is no good. Quan, Mr. Gucci hat, I mean, Let's get some love in the chat for the Gucci hat. I mean, when you walk in and sit down in a poker game buying for the max wearing a Gucci hat, it just screams action player.
That's a good read because he gets the game out of the muck.
There's Nico in the chat. Good to see you, Nico. We got to get you in this game, buddy.
All right. So we have a new dealer. That means Dakari missed out on that. There's got to be like $35 on that button now.
Are they doing one every hand? Someone puts $1?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. There it is.
Okay, it's closer to 30.
Yeah. That's cool. And for you guys who just came in, they are adding $1 per hand to the button. That's just a fun little game for the dealer. Whenever he deals the winning hand to the button, or I guess rather I should say when the button wins a hand,
Right.
then the dealer gets to scoop that little pot that's built up. And it looks like the button has not won a hand in about 30 hands.
Yeah.
So either that's the case or someone added a little extra along the way there.
Rosie, 3 bets to 75 with ace deuce.
Nice. And it happens to be the one time that Woodley has a real hand here. Let's see if Woodley's going to go for the 4-bet. He knows Rosie's a pretty tight player, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just calls.
I flat and there we go.
Looks like he's asking him. Let's see if we can hear.
I'm fine either way.
Rosie hit him with the speech play. Says, I'm just happy you're not folding. Which is, I don't think that's true. But he does achieve his ISO here. Looks like Woodley just calls. So he's going to allow Rosie to see a flop. If he had a 4-bet, I think Rosie would have been out of there. Rosie's going to flop a pair, which could get him in a little bit of trouble. But I have a feeling he's just going to check back on this board, which isn't very good for his 3-betting range and pretty good for Woodley.
Woodley's going to bet now. 120?
Yeah.
110.
And this is a tough spot right here because Woodley is very capable of still having a lot of hands that can't beat a pair of deuces.
Right.
And I wouldn't be that surprised to see...
Chris likes to scream.
Appreciate that, Chris. Wouldn't be surprised to see Rosie float here and then see what happens on the river.
The deuce of clubs has been folded.
He does decide this time to just lay it down, which is the right fold.
Yeah. Oh, he shows the 9s.
Yeah.
And throws my cards.
Good fold, Rosie.
Very hard.
Mr. Woodley is earning himself some detention here.
Yeah.
Bending the cards, throwing the cards. Can't be doing that, guys. These cards are loaded with microchips.
They are.
Computer chips.
They're expensive.
Which make them very expensive.
I just did get an email today that I ordered 20 more decks and they just passed customs this morning.
Nice, awesome.
So they'll be here for the birthday bash. We haven't talked about that yet. The $500 event we're going to have at the end of October.
Awesome. We got a tournament coming up, huh?
Danielle's $150,000 guarantee birthday bash and 6 starting flights. The 20th, 21st, 22nd. And day 2 on Sunday, $3,000 multi-bag bonus.
Okay.
So if you make it to the top 10%, twice you get $3,000. And you do that 6 times, you're getting $15,000. So that's like 3rd place money.
Yeah, there you go, guys. So if you want to play some tournament action, they're going to have a big one coming up here at Poker House. You said that's the end of the month?
October 20, 21, 22, 6 flights.
There we go.
We're running satellites every Tuesday. We already have 30 players qualified for that tournament.
Nice. That's awesome, guys. So there are going to be lots of events coming up here at Poker House. As we mentioned before, we're getting 2-5 going. We're getting some mixed games going. We're having big tournaments. And there is always deep stack 1-2 cash action going around the clock. And those games are great. I mean, I've played in them many times myself, and they play right in the sweet spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's really fun. There's some gamble. After this hand, I'm going to answer for Verdantal Mon who wants to play on the stream.
Nice.
But we got Rosie and Evan together. They got a straight flush.
Looks like Rosie's out of there.
So Evan has an open ender. Rosie would have flopped 2 pair.
I think Rosie had 7-4, didn't he?
Oh, did he? I thought he had 7-8. No, he didn't have 7-8 because the 8's right there.
Now we would have made 2 pair.
Boom.
But Woodley
Oh,
has
it's a
2 pair
straight.
himself. Oh, and Evan, yeah, turns the straight. There's 3 spades out there, which could save Woodley a little money, but I have a feeling he's still going to lose at least 2 bets, maybe a bet raise and another bet. And he does raise. Makes it 155, and now Evan is kind of in an interesting spot. He probably thinks Woodley's raise represents more flushes than anything.
Right.
I don't think
So
he's folding,
does he
but I
just
don't
go-
know if he's like ripping his stack in there either.
I think check call. If I'm Evan.
I think Evan is actually in position here. Woodley was the straddle.
Oh, you're right. Woodley check raised. That's what
Yeah,
confused me.
exactly. And now Woodley's going to come again, and I think this will just be a pretty easy call from Evan. Depends on that size there. 120, yeah, that's a
easy
snap call.
Easy call.
For sure.
I'm never raising.
No. I don't think so, especially when it comes to one-liner. I think if it didn't come a one-liner, it would be very interesting to think about
Yeah,
raising, because
with the
Woodley
flush
is the
out
kind
there.
of player who might have some worse hands right now and be willing to pay
He would
off.
pay, like
Yeah, like a 2-pair like this, exactly.
Like top 2. So getting back to Verdantal Mon, if you want to play on the stream, we have several options available for you. You can jump onto. Oh, I love this guy, this Ukrainian.
Nice.
So we lost Big Fish along the way. I missed that. It must have been when I was fueling up on my Dr. Pepper. So we've got the 1-3 game, the 2-5 game, the 5-5-10 game that we're moving to Friday. You can, if you come to the room while we're streaming, then you can get on the list. We did last night a VPIP game where every hour we took the lowest 3 players and kicked them off the stream, replaced them with 3 players from a feeder game. Looks like a bunch of 7-4s and 7-6s and queen 7s, so there's not a lot going on here.
Yeah, and Eric, I think that sounds like a really fun format. And as you said, y'all are streamlining the process and making that really smooth. So
We'll
you're
get
going to
it
see
better.
like the highest VPIP players competing against each other, kind of round after round, while the lowest
exciting.
players get dropped off.
Yeah, those low players complain.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure they do. I am one of those low players sometimes. So
Woodley turns the flush. Brandon has really no part of
Nothing,
anything. He's
but-
just bluffing at it.
just hanging around.
Woodley check calls. Check calls.
Looks like they were already on the river there,
Yeah.
and maybe Brandon bet the whole way. I didn't see the river action there.
It was probably, it might have been check, check, and then check, bet, check, you know.
Gotcha.
It might have been Mike missed that first check, check on the flop. Oh, they're watching a game. They're watching the footballs. Something good happened 15 minutes ago. This is Vadim in the 5 seed. He's been on the stream.
Nice. Looks like Rosie was impressed by something happening there in the Sunday night football game. If you guys were tuned in last week, you'll know I'm a huge Tom Brady fan, and we've got the Bucs teeing off against Frankie's Chiefs tonight. It's already been a good enough night for Frankie. It's his birthday. He's winning a ton of money. Let's just let Tom take one down here. Go Bucs.
Is that 2 green chips on that button or just 1? Just 1. They haven't run 50 hands.
No, definitely not. It would have to have been someone
Yeah.
just adding one in there.
For funsies.
For funsies, and this looks like it's turning into a pretty good sweat for the dealer, though.
Woodley's got the open ender. And he breaks.
He takes it down.
With a Jack 4.
Oh, he has the Jack 4. I keep forgetting because I'm so used to watching them play the 7 deuce game. The Jack 4 off game is good, and everyone is going to pay up $10 for that.
That's the third time it's gone off tonight. At least three times that I remember.
Awesome. That's fun. So everybody pays up.
Frankie, 4K, Knock 4K, Rosie, Evan 29, 26, Brandon 26. Vadim just sat down with a table max of 1,500, and he's short stacked.
Yeah. Yeah, the chips have been flying around here tonight, especially considering we've only been streaming for about 2.5 hours, and every single player in the game, other than the guys who just bought in, have got over the table max.
And speaking of the Q,
Here comes Frankie with another tricky limp. You gotta love to see it. I love watching Frankie mix this up. As we were saying earlier, when we saw him limp a couple of weaker hands, like the 7-8 suited, and then it sets him up for spots like this where Woodley is going. Oh boy. Oh boy.
We're gonna have some next gen poker on next gen poker of violence.
Yes, we are, and I am so curious to see how this plays out with both of them being so deep. Rosie has $3,000.
Eric, we just took the numbers off because it was ugly. He says, Tip, put the seat numbers next to the names.
Fair enough, Eric. We are trying some stuff here. Let's stick with this hand for a second as Frankie does decide to come with the 4-bet. I was wondering if you might cold call to keep Woodley in there since Rosie's range is really strong, but this time he decides to 4-bet, which is also reasonable. And now, is Rosie going to flat? I don't know if he would even have a 5-betting range out of position here because it would probably only be like aces and kings and then maybe occasionally ace-king suited. So instead, he may just call with all of the hands that he wants to play. Because otherwise, if you call, that means you probably have jacks or queen. Jacks or queens. And if you raise, you have aces or kings. So it just kind of gives away what your hand strength is. So no, this time he is going to re-raise. And
do they know each other so well Frankie can get away from
I think there's a chance Frankie will get away from this. I think there's a chance of that. I think Frankie might believe that Rosie could still have ace-king possibly. But I think just the way the action has played out, and
I think he folds face up. 2 queens. Here you go. Here you go.
I think there is a pretty good
Happy
chance of
birthday
that.
to me. Oh, cute. The keyboard warriors are fighting.
Let's get some table audio here. Frankie's eyeing him down. Dysfunctionalism puts in the prediction. Frankie's going to get away from it. I think I got to agree with you, Dysfunctionalism. I think that he is getting away from it.
Yep.
He moves the chip, takes one last look,
face up,
and talks about the ladies, tosses them in the muck.
Good job, Frankie.
Great fold from Frankie there.
VPIP Vadim has not played a hand yet, so he's at 0. Other than that, 62, 42, 24, 22, 21, 21, 19, and 16. All right. Quan with the $10 straddle.
Raise it up. Make it 35. I know he had jacks and just set me off. Call. You turned him into a fold.
So Cooler Aces does not know the Vadim. He just sat down, which is why he has a 0 VPIP. I promise he's going to be at the tip. He's going to be gambling it up. Vadim hits the top of it with the 10. I like that a little bit. 55 into 155 pot.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Woodley's got middle pair. Gonna call once here, and Brandon's got a gut shot and a backdoor nut flush draw. And he's gonna turn it into a bluff. And this is gonna be really interesting to see how Vadim reacts, considering this is his first hand played, right?
Yes.
This is his very first hand, so he's getting
He
in the
just
mix.
sat
And
down.
yeah, doesn't really know exactly what the flow of the game is. Does this mean a set, or could this mean a gut shot? Which is, in this case, what it actually means. He does have a very vulnerable kicker with his 10, but I don't know if he is going to assume that Brandon would even raise with a better 10. This could be very polarizing to like 2-pair plus or some bluffs like this. It's going to get through Vadim. It looks like he folded. And
Oh, no, Vadim called.
oh, he called. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw him pushing something forward.
Yeah,
I guess it was the chips.
Yeah, he put chips out.
Okay, my fault. I thought those were his cards. But all right, so he does make the call, and this pot's going to get a little sticky for him right here off the bat.
I can't believe oh, yeah, okay.
Woodley was thinking about it, but I would have been very curious to see if Woodley continued.
We
if
get a
Vadim
club
had
on the
folded.
turn. Okay, it was a turn.
Okay, yeah, it's a brick on the turn. And Brandon slows down. Can't say for sure he's given up, but he does slow down, and Vadim checks it back. Makes sense. Really good card for Vadim here on the
Double.
river. And yeah, Brandon does decide to give up. Vadim gets to go to showdown. Nice and cheap. Good call on the flop. Puts him to the test a little bit. Could have seen some people folding a weak 10 there, especially when you got another player left to act behind you. Cooler Aces is coming in from Pennsylvania to play us live heads up. Cooler Aces, I tell you what, if you come in from Pennsylvania, we will get you a heads up match set up.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We got a whole list of people here, including these next gen boys. They might be willing to play a heads up match with you just for the content.
That would be fun. I would stream it. Oh, speaking of fun stuff, we're going to stream tag team tournament 10 a.m. Saturday.
Nice. That's fun.
$100 buy-in per player, so $200 per team. That'll be a fun game. We're starting this Saturday.
Nice.
Like in 6 days Saturday.
Okay.
Really good time. I think it'll be super fun.
Is that a one-day event?
It's a couple-hour event. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it'll just be a small $100 buy-in. It'll be fun.
Nice. And that'll be on the stream.
Yes.
Nice. So if you guys want to get on the stream, that sounds like a great opportunity.
Yeah, grab a friend and come on in.
Yeah, grab a buddy.
I would love to stream a heads-up tournament. They are way too expensive to staff.
I was thinking it might be fun down the road to do some kind of promotion where people could win an opportunity to play one of these next-gen boys heads up.
Oh, I love it.
That could be a fun idea.
That's great. Woodley flops the open-ender.
No doubt, and the 2 overcards to go with it makes it even more juicy. And I think it's going to be good enough. Yeah. AA just lays down the ace high.
Yeah, he's got nothing but an overcard. Eddie says, heads up tournament too expensive, Eddie. You got to make it $1,000 so I can admin fee 100 of it to pay the dealers. You know, you can't do a fun $200 one, and there's not enough room for the juice.
Got to get the juice, Eddie. You should know that, bud. Are the boys going to Vegas soon? We actually just got back from Vegas. Spent the summer playing the World Series of Poker. They've got some great vlogs out about it if you want to go check those out. And I think we probably will see them back in Vegas before next summer, but definitely for next summer's World Series. I'm planning to be there. I know the boys are planning to be there as well. And my co-commentator from last week, Chris Linza, also of Haslett House Poker, and our best friend Jack Peterson, also of Haslett House Poker. I'm assuming we're all going to be in Vegas for the summer playing tournaments.
The AJ versus the AJ.
That's right. The suited variety, usually a favorite, and does take it down this time. Vadim just gives it up. Was that an open 3-bet fold? I think it probably was.
I'm not positive. Eddie says him, Kim, and Hayden will all play the 1K heads-up tournament. All right, that's 3.
That's 3.
If we get, let's say, 15 more, I'll run a bracket of 18, 9, you know, boom, boom, boom.
I think there's a pretty good chance you could put that together.
I think so, actually. Well, I'll work on it after the birthday bash in October. We'll look at something in November. That would be fun. D, good night. Is it a turbo? The tag team event is a 10K starting stack, 15-minute level. So yeah, it's going to be over quick. It'll take 5 hours maybe.
Cooler Aces says he loves Texas poker because the 3-bet the 3-bet pre and then flop 3-betting ranges are much wider than usual. I'd say just in general, the play is a little bit looser in general.
Oh, for sure.
Which does, of course, leak into 3-betting ranges, but also leaks into just about every other area.
Chip count. Athria and Quan down at the starting stack range. Everybody else with piles.
Yeah, these stacks are getting pretty big.
Knock and Frankie up around 4K.
Yeah, we got a 1,500 cap on this game, guys. It's a 2-5 game. And this is the exact structure of game that we are getting going here at Poker House every day. 2-5, no limit hold'em with a $1,500 cap.
Mm-hmm. Jacob, we do have the VPIP. About every third hand, you'll see the VPIP.
No doubt, and we are looking forward to your troll opportunities.
We just had chip count, so I think the next one up is VPIP. And then it'll be aggression frequency and then pre-flop raising. So pay attention when everybody folds. I do not have the cumulative winnings because it gets messed up when people, if the stack size is accidentally off and we correct it, it looks like they just bought in for more. So it's really irrelevant. Thank you, Jacob. Appreciate that. Yeah. Announcers are balling. OMG. I don't know what OMG means.
It might have been OMG.
OMG, huh?
Maybe.
Profit chart. No, I have it. I do have a cumulative chart, but we're at the spot where the action tracker makes so many mistakes that it's off, and I don't want to give incorrect information.
All right, let's get back to this action here as Rosie has opened under the gun. We're very close to it. Looks like you won. Athrea in the straddle has 3-betting with ace-queen off, and Rosie defends. So, yeah, Rosie, you 2 there. My fault. 3-bet from the straddle and a defend. And now Athrea checks on the flop. This probably is a little better flop for Rosie. Although it's hard for either one of them to have any 2 pairs. But Rosie can have pocket 5s, pocket 7s. They both could have pocket jacks. Athrea probably a little less likely to have ace-jack, but can obviously have aces and kings. Kind of unlikely Rosie has those. We don't see Rosie's cards here, so...
He is eyeballing that stack, though.
Yeah. Gonna get to sweat it now. After checking back, Athrea bets. The check back on the flop does not mean that Rosie does not have something. I think he's going to check back quite a few hands that have some showdown value. Could be some suited jacks. Jack X, I mean. Some ace-jack, king-jack, queen-jack suited, jack-10 suited. I think all of those are possible.
You think he's calling 140 pre with jack-10?
I think there's a good chance that he would because...
After raising to 60?
Yeah, he raises to 60, and then I think he probably wishes the Athrea was a little bit deeper, but when you got position, jack-10 suited, I think, is kind of on that fringe. Wouldn't be surprised to see him call and then check the flop. Can he have hearts here? Maybe. I mean, probably you should be able to have hearts here, but I think there's...
No. A pair of
Pocket
tens.
tens. Yeah, that makes sense. Just trying to think if there's any sevens or fives that Rosie can have. Probably not. So
Casey called out tens before we saw it, so kudos to you.
yeah, for sure. And that makes perfect sense. Those eights, nines, tens, and then Jack X hands would be candidates for calling the 3-bet, checking the flop, and then calling the turn. Kind of doubt Rosie has any 7X or 5X hands. Not very many if he does.
See, Mike has to type in 10-10 right now so that we can go to the next hand. And you can see him right there. 10. Do it. Tap 10-10. So there we go. He did it. There's a VPIP. Look quick because Mike's going to make it go away. 62 for Woodley, 17 for Quan. Those are false stats for Quan and Vadim because they just sat down. So those are not accurate.
And we just got a sub there. I think that might have said Eric. I missed the name, but if that was you, Eric. I think the name of the guy who just subscribed might have been Eric.
It was a different one.
Did you see who it was?
No. It wasn't me though.
No, I know. It wasn't you. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I think the guy's name was Eric.
Okay, I missed it.
Either way, we appreciate the subscription.
Thank you, Eric.
We've been up above 60 viewers pretty consistently here. Let's see if we can crack that 70 number. Give us a like. Give us a share.
Play a hand.
That's what I heard there.
Paraphrasing.
So AA.
VPIP does include any money you voluntarily put in the pot. And I believe it's pre-flop. A lot of people say voluntarily put in pot, but I think it's voluntarily put in pre-flop.
Now, VPIP would be the percent you play for Van Dandelman. Delay is 15 minutes.
I'm
Anthony.
pretty sure he was being sarcastic to Kingfish.
Gotcha. I got trolled a couple of times pretty hard last week, so
Okay.
I'm used to that feeling.
There we go. Quan with the open ender. A 3. I'm guessing he has a 10 because one of the cards that did not show when Rosie had it was a 10.
Okay.
So we probably, you know what? Woodley broke my 10.
Gotcha. Okay, so 3 could have a 10. It looked like he 3-bet pre-flop, so I'm thinking the 10s that he would have would either be like an ace-10 suited, a pocket 10s. There's 2 queens already out there, so.
Right. So he could possibly have the queen 10s. Nope. I was going to say spades with a flush combo draw, but that's not it because Evan has the queen of spades.
So this pot is getting pretty big here. AA has bet and gets called both ways by the nut flush and an open ender, and the open ender gets there. King on the river for Quan. Little bit of a loose calling on the turn, I think, with the with the open ender on the paired board.
With the paired board, right?
Yeah. So.
And the flush, so the king of spades is no good. The 8 of spades is no good.
Exactly. But he does drill it here. One of his super clean outs.
Yeah, he just goes all in.
And he's all in. Yeah, there's 1.3 out there. He's got less than the pot. About 3/4 of the pot. There's a fold.
Yeah, we'll never know.
And a fold. And scoops a nice one.
So we're close to $50 on that button now. Jack 10 of hearts, he said. So my guess is the 10 of hearts is broken.
Makes sense.
I'm blaming Woodley.
A little bit of a frisky 3-bet there pre-flop with the Jack 10 of hearts. Feels like Atreya is really in the mood to get in the action. He has...
And the Jack 10 was top pair.
I think pre-flop he 3-bet pretty large. I'm trying to remember.
200.
Was it a 200? Yeah.
30% VPIP requirement. That might be something we do instead of kicking off the lowest 3. We just kick off everybody under 30. Maybe. And it might be one guy, it might be none of them. We got Cisco back in the box. And
Man's got some love for Quan in the chat there. Nice pot for Quan. Bold enough to call with the open ender on the paired board. Paired flush draw board. Drills it. Wins a nice $1,300 pot. And the cards are being passed out here. It says there's already $135 in the pot. Wondering if that is lagging from the last hand or if we're looking at a bomb pot here.
A bomb pot because it's a new dealer.
So that must have been a $15 bomb pot.
Okay.
9 players times 15. Would that be 135?
Okay. So, all right. So, Mike has to. Okay. So it turned out to not be a bomb pot. So Mike went and redid it and said, "Oh, guess it was." They probably said bomb pot. Mike typed it in, and they went, "No, let's not." And Mike's like, "Oh, back out of that then."
Gotcha.
That's my guess as to what happened.
Makes sense. Anthony wondering when Rosie jumped on the Bills bandwagon. I have no idea what the answer to that question is, but I'm sure it was recent. Who was a Bills fan 5 years ago? I mean,
We got some fist bumps going on there. I'm not sure what's happening.
could be related to the football game potentially.
15 minutes ago, something fun might have happened on football. So I don't know why we don't have any hole cards at all.
Yeah, this is interesting. See what Frankie's talking about.
This is really weird.
Psychothrey is talking through some of his plays with Knock and getting some confirmation. Sometimes it's really tough in poker because you make a play, and whether you win or you lose, you can never be 100% certain it was the right play. You know, you can get rewarded for bad play, and you can get punished for good play. So sometimes, especially when you do end up losing, you're sitting there with your head spinning, wondering, did I do something stupid, or did I just get unlucky this time? And Athrea adds a beautiful-looking banana there to the top of his stack.
Now he has to tell Mike that, otherwise Mike will think he only has the 700 in front of him.
Gotcha.
Yep, Frankie knows the game,
Nice.
so he told him.
Frankie's a sharp kid.
I like Frankie, big Frankie fan.
Big Frankie fan. Me too. Big fan of all of the next-gen guys. They all have their own unique personalities that they bring to their group, and I think they all have a lot of value too.
So a banana is a yellow 1000 chip.
Yeah, you see that banana right there on top of Frankie's stack? They are slightly bigger than the rest of the chips. And Athrea had added one, but it looks like he passed it over to Knock, and now it's underneath his black chips there.
Right.
And you can see there the difference in sizing.
Size difference. Yeah, Athrea wanted those black chips.
Van Danelmon says gets bananas for $1.30 at HEB. I would give you about a 4 out of 10 for that attempt there.
That's generous.
Generous. 3 out of 10.
Brandon, nut flush draw, open ender, a 2-banger, a 7-banger, a heart. There it is.
There it is.
Pink.
And
Woodley snap folds.
even on the flop there, Brandon actually had a 63% equity advantage against Woodley, even though he had a dominated hand just because of all those draws. Jacob in agreement about the quality of the banana joke. I would love to see you guys get in the chat with some banana jokes for us. See if you can do better than our one attempt right now.
Banana.
Banana.
All right, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana again.
I don't think I've ever heard that one before. Oh, it was. I'm gonna have to downvote Van Dandelmon's joke now to like a 2 so that I can make that a 4.
That's my best banana joke. That's all I got.
That's funny.
KQ for knock. Jack 9 for Brandon. Trey 5 on the flop. 3 bets to 105 with King Queen and bricks.
Yeah, this seems like a really good hand to isolate here with, and I was a little surprised actually to see him choose this one, but not choose the Queen 10 suited earlier. That could be because of the player that he's up against, but also just a little bit surprised. I like to see maybe a little more flats with these smoother hands and more isolations with those hands that don't mind folding to 4 bets more often, but he does decide to 3-bet here. And then did he get check raised right there? Appears he might have gotten check raised off of it. Interesting. So the battle of the Jack High and the King High. The Jack High wins. And Nico drops a joke for us. What's yellow and goes 30 miles an hour? A banana and a washing machine. Okay, Nico, did you make up that joke? Because if you did, I'm going to give you a little bonus points for it. Not even sure how to rate that.
I'm going to put dysfunctionalism in timeout
Okay.
for being disrespectful to my TD. So you can still watch us, but no more talking for you.
Is that a permanent ban?
No, it's a temporary timeout.
A little timeout. All right.
It might be throughout the rest of the stream. Might be an hour. I'm not positive.
Gotcha.
Oh, knock and Woodley. Ooh, knock just folds jacks.
Was that pre-flop?
Yeah.
And he gets away from the jacks?
Wow.
Against Woodley? Oh my goodness. What a play. What a play right there. And we know Woodley is capable of putting the money in light. So for Knock to just get away from the 2 jacks, that almost makes me feel like it was a misread on the RFID or something. What a great fold.
Oh, Eddie Bat, where can I find love? That is a inside joke when we had a porn bot spamming us yesterday. And Kimmy Hayden says, where can I find love?
That's funny.
His chair was vibrating. Check the tapes.
Check the tapes.
I think he had a ring on his hand. Don't get me started again.
We might have a whole new viewership in here. Might need the talking to. We're still open to hearing input from you guys on what went down between Garrett and Robbie the other night.
There's Hayden. Are you looking for love?
You looking for love?
So Kwan's in the under the gun straddle. Brandon re-straddles from +1. This is the first time I've seen the straddle. I love it. Okay.
Brandon making a big stab here, and Kwan's cards are unknown, which means there's a chance he's got one of those 10s. I think that was the 10 of hearts maybe that wasn't reading correctly. Goes Brandon with a huge 3-bet pre-flop. C-bets on the 9-3-3 board with some backdoor straight draws. Bricks it, and now comes again. He is just going all out for this one. I'm not sure what made him decide to attack in this particular spot. I'm guessing he's just trying to isolate Kwan and play heads up with him in position. Doesn't care too much about what cards he has. And now he's gone pretty good ways down this line that is a little tricky. Nothing but the 5 high. Could Kwan potentially get away from some pocket pairs smaller than a 9 or even a 9x hand? From what we've seen from him, I just Wouldn't expect him to just fold a 9 here. But he might. There's a good amount of pressure, and Brandon is repping the big pairs.
What a bet from Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon 3-bet pre-flop, C-bet on this flop with some backdoor draws. The C-bet makes sense to me. The pre-flop and the turn bet both seem very speculative.
Quan's not the guy I'm targeting.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And Quan's not going anywhere. He calls, and we're going to see a river.
Oh,
This is a river that Brandon might go for it. It definitely hits his range.
no.
And he's all in instantly.
Quan can call him with
Shoves the $2,000. This is a huge overbet.
That's Quan. Quan could have been calling him down with an ace high, though.
He so casually just shoves it in. Is Quan going to piece together that this line is a little suspicious? I mean, what is Brandon representing here? He's saying that he either has pocket aces, pocket queens, maybe pocket nines, or that he was bluffing with a hand like ace queen on the flop and turn top pair, river top 2 pair.
Quan is a hero. I mean, he hero calls.
Oh, and he lets it go this time.
Wow.
I can't say I'm surprised to see him fold because it feels like it's pretty likely he's got a 9 by that point. And since we couldn't read his cards, maybe he had one of those 10s, maybe like a 10-9.
10.
Yeah, something like that. So I can't say I'm surprised to see him fold, but I would definitely be a little suspicious of how Brandon takes that line and then insta-bets on the river. And
Yeah, Verdantil says, Old Man Coffee got bluffed. What's new? See, that's a viewer who's not paying attention.
yeah, as Quan has been bringing the action, made a couple of huge hero calls already. So, like I said, not entirely surprised to see him fold just based on what I think he probably had.
So we have another
But-
straddle and a double straddle again.
Still takes some guts to stick your whole stack in there at the end when the ace comes in.
Sure.
Yeah, Hayden says Brandon got the best river card, and I agree. It's a good card to represent, especially. I do think that it kind of limits a little bit how many strong hands that you can have. Because like if you were bet, flop, turn, and then now you're going to go huge on the river, it kind of eliminates all of those pairs worse than like ace queen or pocket aces. But whatever. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Power poker is just the bet's scary, so the other guy folds. If you've only got a pair of 9s right there, you're going, well, I can only beat a bluff. All right, and now Brandon is back in the mix again immediately with AA. This time AA makes trips against Brandon's pair of 6s.
So there's a 5-minute timeout dysfunctionalism.
Just be nice, dysfunctionalism, so we don't have to worry about it.
I mean, I can remove you. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. This isn't the forum to air any grievances that you might or might not have, whether you're trolling us or not. Can come down and talk about that in person if you need to. And the A is kind of a bad card for AA here, as it allows Brandon to just fold pretty easily. Looks like he's a little distracted by something delicious there behind him. We got canes in the house.
Canes. Pre-flop raising Brandon 33%, Knock 9, Quan 10, Evan 11, Rosie and Frankie 12 and 12, Woodley 13. That surprises me. Vadim 14. That does not surprise me.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised to see Woodley's only at 13. Jacob says that 5-deuce offsuit hand was sponsored by Canes right there, and not officially, but it could have been induced. I will not argue with that.
Woodley with that PFR again. That's why I'm so surprised it was only 14.
Right? When you see him raise an 8-5
Yeah.
offsuit. Doesn't seem like that fits inside of a 13% pre-flop game plan.
Yeah. Now, a couple minutes ago, I fixed that the cameras got locked up again. And so we're going to be stuck on Quan for about 10 minutes.
Okay. Well, that's all right. We got Brandon in the hand here. And he's on camera too, so He 3-bets with the king 5, and this game is really getting crazy. We have the open and the 3-bet by the 8-5 and the king 5. Looks like it goes check, 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 check. The king wins. Brandon has really loosened up here in the
He really has.
in the last few minutes, the last few orbits.
He's having fun.
And Hayden says he is in zoom zoom mode. That's a little reference to Phil Hellmuth. I think maybe Antonio and Daniel were giving him some trouble for being in zoom zoom mode anytime he lost a pot. And we do have Brandon now. A little zoom zoom mode.
They're talking about the game out there. Somebody needs 7. Yeah, he zoomed that race car across the table earlier.
That's a good representation of the zoom zoom mode. Maybe he should even have a little tagline that goes with that. Roll the car out. Or zoom zoom, baby. Something.
Like all you can eat.
Yeah, exactly.
That shark.
Mm-hmm. Is that Umberto Brenes?
Umberto. So Brandon's ahead with the king, and he's just checking it to Athrea. And a 4-liner out there. Is that any better? All right, turn up this guy.
And we're in the mix.
Maybe a little bit more. We'll have to test it and see. Oh, it looks like you lost your popper there. Hand 75 here at Poker House Dallas.
Yeah, we're rolling, and I think we got through just over 100 last time, so.
Sounds accurate. We are on hour 3, 9 o'clock, 1 hour to go.
And the Next Gen boys themselves have been our big winners tonight so far. And we've got Frankie back in the mix here. He's got pocket 3s and defends versus a raise from Woodley from early position.
I agree, Justin. That was a hell of a play by Brandon with
No
the 5
doubt.
deuce.
Fearless.
He picked the wrong guy, but I mean, it worked. That's the guy I'm not bluffing at the table.
So Brandon has a legitimate hand now. Comes in with the 3-bet. Oh! Gets defended both ways, and Frankie flops bottom set.
How good is Frankie
Oh,
running
my gosh,
today?
I know.
On his birth, it must be the birthday magic.
Birthday magic. And not only does he flop bottom set, but Brandon flops the overpair.
Yeah,
At the
that's
same
a great
time.
flop for Brandon.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a 3-bet pot, folks. This pot is already $400.
Frankie just calls.
So this is interesting.
Oh, the jack comes out.
Yeah, and I'm afraid Frankie kind of let him off the hook a little bit there.
Oh,
He allows him to bet really small on the flop and just check calls. I think if there's a flush draw out there, I would expect to see Frankie go for the raise more often, but maybe he's thinking it'll look so strong when there's not a lot of draws to represent. So he just calls for the 75.
yeah, 542 in the pot. Probably bet 200. No, 130.
That's
Really-
unfortunate for Frankie because he had
Yeah.
a nice little setup there.
It was a
but-
bad run out with the jacks and the queens, and Brandon's spidey senses were tingling.
Sure.
He's like, never mind. Frank's like, how did I only win $300 there?
Yeah, exactly.
Frankie 4,000, knock 3.8, Brandon 3.2, Rosie 2.8, Threa 2.3, 2.1 for Evan and Woodley.
I'm wondering if Frankie would have got called there. Well, I'm sure on the flop he would have got called if he check raises. And then on the turn, I wonder if Brandon feels any differently about the way the hand is going down to put some more money in, or if it would have just been a bet and then a fold on the turn. I'm sure Frankie's going to be thinking about any way that he could have gotten some more money on
How
that
to
one.
maximize the profit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Old Man Coffee betting 40 with 8-9 offsuit, 45.
We're going to have another sweat here as Evan's cards have not been scanned, and that
10 hearts.
very well could be the 10 of hearts. Would still leave his other card as a mystery.
Yes. If it doesn't read both cards, it won't show you either one of them. So
Okay.
ace 10. He raised to 45. It could
Sure.
be, something jack 10 suited, something like that.
Definitely. Those.
Old Man, double espresso.
Woodley also has a 10, making it less likely that Evan has two 10s. Very well could have ace 10, as you said, or maybe a suited 10. Got four-way action. Knock flops the open ender, but it checks through on the flop. He bricks the turn, and to our knowledge, no one has anything. Actually, Knox still has 45% with his open ender. 40%, excuse
Yeah,
me.
Woodley's 45 with his. Oh, he gets
He
it.
drills it.
As long as Evan doesn't have two spades, which we don't think he does with that 10 of hearts.
Right. And does Evan have anything that Knock could get some more money in against? Because I don't think Woodley or Quan is going to be putting in another dime here.
I think we're all done with this hand.
Fold, 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 and Knock scoops.
Yeah, he tried to bet 90 and nobody wants to play with him.
Yeah, a little $275 pot. Got kind of sneaky big. Seems like that's a normal or relatively small pot for this game right now.
V Pippin, Vadim, Frankie, and Rosie down at the bottom. We had to have to kick them off.
Got to kick the boys off their own
See,
game.
and if we go under 30, I lose the whole table except for Brandon and Woodley.
Right, exactly.
Where yesterday 42 got kicked off. Is that Nick from Hassel House Poker in the booth? What
How
happened to
can
y'all?
how do you pronounce that name there? Pochinki?
Pochinki.
Pochinki? Pochinki, this is Nick from Haslett House Poker, and we really appreciate you coming in to check out the stream. What happened to us? Well, we're all still great buddies. Me and Jack and Chris especially still run around and travel together a lot. Rain, who was a part of our group and edited our videos for us, he still lives here in the Dallas area and plays in the local card rooms. And then Alice moved to Florida. So right now here in the Metroplex, it's me, Rain, and Chris grinding and hanging out with these next-gen guys. Just don't make content anymore, honestly. Kind of lost the enthusiasm for it, but we're enjoying doing this stream. And
Leland
Yeah.
just subscribed. Thank
Awesome.
you for that.
I think the subscription is probably my favorite one to see pop up.
I love
'cause
subscriptions.
you know they're coming back. They're excited with what they see. And yeah, we haven't been on Instagram very much. We haven't been on any of the socials. We're just kind of doing our thing, playing a lot of cards. We still play a lot of poker, just don't talk about it on social media very often.
So I just increased the size of that alert box so that we can read it easier.
Nice, that's perfect.
So it's going to take up like the whole screen.
Okay, cool. That's
So
perfect.
Somebody go like it so I
Yeah.
can see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody give us a sub.
Subscribe, like, share. I want to see what happens.
It's free.
Dinner extra. I would like to take a moment. In the background, you can see Martha with the mop. They have the best cleaning squad here
It's
at
unbelievable.
Poker House Dallas. I mean, these guys are fabulous.
And she's the sweetest lady in the world. She always comes over and makes a point to say hello to me, acts like she's excited to see me, like I'm, her best friend. Every time I
Yeah,
see her,
she's
I
great.
love it.
Evan Rivers Broadway
Yeah, and he does have...
for the smallest pot we've had tonight.
Gets a little bet in on the river there, as Vadim
Yeah.
has top pair, so...
Okay. Pink. Another timeout for Zaza.
I think Zaza is the same person.
Oh, it is. That's why I'm gonna delete them both.
Honestly, the chat has been excellent tonight. Last week we were really getting the trolls in the mix. Maybe I was feeding them a little too much. They kind of tricked me on a Tom Brady gag to
Oh,
start the stream.
I was in here for that.
Yeah, that was brutal, but honestly, in a way, I kind of enjoy it because that's sort of what they do. They just have their little troll antics,
Right.
and then you're trying to see if you can go the entire stream without getting fooled by them. Not too many trolls tonight, and we appreciate that. All the support in the stream, in the chat box.
Yeah, I gave him a 5-minute timeout, Eddie. When he kept it up, I got rid of him. Oh, boom. And he's in another timeout.
All right, good flop here for Brandon. He outflops Quan's ace jack, but might get some action as there's a queen and a jack on the board. The pot's already pretty healthy size, and you can tell the game's getting a little bit out of control whenever you see these large pots and then look down and see hands like queen deuce and 5-4 in there. Means they were probably 3-bet pots. And Quan is the one who leads out, testing the waters with that jack. And then gets there on the river, makes the 2-pair when Brandon kind of had it locked up on the turn. But Quan's going to take a stab at it, and I got a feeling he's going to get snapped off. Oh, I'm sorry. Quan is the one who makes 2-pair here on the river. Yeah, so that makes sense. Quan bets, and Brandon folds. For a second, I was thinking the queen deuce was taking a stab there, but that makes more sense. And Brandon kind of had that one locked up. He had the top pair and the flush draw, and then Quan still gets lucky, kind of like he did with the queen 10 earlier. This time he drills the ace and wins another healthy pot. Small pot there, and getting a dealer change. Looks like they're not vibing the hold'em bomb pots. I think
It's not as fun.
I think the main complaint is that it's really hard to make a hand that'll compete on both boards. When you get 4 cards in your hand, it just gives you a good chance to scoop the whole pot. I think people get a little bit annoyed that there's so many chop pots when you do the hold'em bomb pots.
Yeah.
Ambo the Human. Who are the commentators? This is Nick from Haslett House Poker. And we got Mr. Eric here in the booth with us, who is the head of the live stream team here at Poker House of Dallas, excuse me.
Yes.
You might recognize my voice from making some YouTube videos in the past. Ambo, I don't know.
Raise it up 30.
been a while, about 5 or 6 years since we put any content out, but back in the mix a little bit here because we're buddies with the next gen guys and want to help them promote and sponsor this stream. Looks like Rosie had some canes there too. Great score. It's getting me kind of in the mood to pick up some canes myself on the way home.
Windstar and the Hideaway.
That's right. We have played a lot at Windstar in the past. And I think me and Chris and maybe Jack in the future are going to be rotating through and doing this commentary on a weekly basis. So if you are enjoying what you're seeing, then come back. We'll be here next Sunday, 6 p.m.
Invite Robbie.
That would be epic. Could Nikki possibly? Is it Nikki? Was that her name?
Kimmy.
Kimmy. Could Kimmy possibly get Robbie in the mix? That would be epic.
So Vadim only has third pair, a ace, a king, a 7. Everything beats him. How hard is it to call right now?
I mean, this is tough, and Woodley just known for putting people to the test. He bets the flop, and then looks like he shuts down on the turn, but when Vadim checks for a third time, he says, there's only one way I'm going to win this pot. And he makes the call. Great call.
Yes.
Great call right there. Woodley shows the 5 high. No good. And Vadim scoops a nice little $550 pot with a queen. There's your V-pips. Had some people asking for those.
Yep.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I've got it set up. It'll show chip stack, and then V-pip, and then pre-flop raising, and then aggression frequency, and it'll cycle between those 4 statistics.
Perfect. That sounds awesome.
Usually in a tournament situation, I just go chip stack, chip stack, chip stack.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then one of the other options. But in a situation like this, I want to show all the stats.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like in the cash game, sometimes it's a little easier to just eyeball the chip stacks.
Yeah.
In the tournaments, you're not as familiar with what colors all the chips are and everything. And if you are just joining us on the stream here, those chips, we got like 5 different colors in the game right now.
We do have that 1K.
Yep, right there on Frankie's stack. Can't see it right now, but there's a couple of yellow banana chips on the table, which are $1,000 chips. A couple of purple chips, one right there on the top of Brandon's stack. That purple chip is $500. The black chips are $100. The greens are $25, and the reds are $5.
Woodley flops top 2.
And this is the types of hands that Woodley can really get paid on. His image will help him earn that additional action. And you see Evan here has the top pair. And Kwan's getting in there too with the bottom pair. Vadim's out of there, so.
Oh, there's a diamond.
Yeah, wow. Action card. As Evan still has top pair, and now Kwan turns
A flush draw.
a flush draw.
He's a 5 or a diamond. It's a big bet.
It
Almost a
is.
pot-sized bet.
Yeah, absolutely. Just what I was thinking.
Does he lose Evan? No.
Doesn't look like it.
He's
Kinda what I-
definitely not losing Quan.
No, definitely not. Pair and a flush draw, no way Kwan's going anywhere. And I think Evan might consider getting away from this hand against other players, but I think that Woodley
against
kind of earns
Woodley.
himself that action with his image.
He's double checking. They are both diamonds. Okay.
Would he consider turning?
Oh, wow.
What?
I
No
never-
way.
I never would have thought Quan was hold the flush draw.
Oh my gosh, that
he
is
bricks, so good fold.
mind-blowing.
But he was calling down with ace 7 before.
No doubt. I can't believe that. But yeah, it was ended up being right this time. And it looks like it just goes check check on the end, and the king kind of
Look how
scares
big that
Woodley.
is.
There we go. Nice. That looks great. And Abraham just subbed. Nice, Abraham. We appreciate it. Love seeing that pop up. Love hearing that sound. Tell your buds. Wow, I'm so surprised that he folded that pair in flush
Yeah.
draw.
Now in the background, you hear the high hands they're doing.
Mm.
They're giving away satellite seats, $120 value into the satellite.
Nice, that's awesome for the
Yeah, every
the
Tuesday.
big tournament coming
Yep.
up at the end
Yep.
of the month. Nice. And another sub, Justin James, back to back.
Boom.
Keep them coming, guys.
They like it.
Keep
Well, now
them
it's worth
coming.
doing it. Look how big that is.
Yeah, look how
Well,
big it.
do
Get to see your
now.
name pop up real big on the screen. Woodley's got some real ammo here. King 10 suited. Bumps it to 20. Let's see if he gets any action. He does from a real hand.
Ooh.
Oh, boy.
The kings are gone, but 3-bet to 60. Frankie just lets it go. He's like, I don't want to play this game anymore.
Yeah. Good fold, Frankie. That was definitely an opportunity to go for a cold 4-bet because I'm sure Evan is going to be attacking Woodley pretty wide.
Abraham says that 3-ad needs to come home. Quan with the 10 of hearts in his hand. Back to Woodley. Now we know that Quan has a 10 of hearts, so
Yeah.
Woodley's one of his 10s is out.
Yep. Which is
gonna
kind of
break the balls.
devastating for him here, as he is already dominated. Probably bad news for Quan as well. He's most likely
Evan
dominated.
gets the most of it. Yeah, if even if Quan has ace 10 or 10-10, 10-10 he would have re-raised, but ace 10, he doesn't love this anymore.
Ace 10 might be the only hand that Quan can have that Evan's going to get any money from here. I think Woodley should just be out
9,
of there.
10, 8,
Maybe.
nope, he's out. He's out. And then
Woodley says no thanks.
and he throws the cards down. Straddle for 10. And they do the inline straddle. Last night we were doing a lot of button straddles.
They do have the button straddle here on the regular cash games out on the floor, but I think they're only doing the under the gun for this game, right?
Right. We they are allowed to do whatever they want. Pre-stream, we went over the guidelines for what they were going to do and they said let's not do the button straddle. Let's just do inline. So under the gun +1, +2, if they want to. And I think we've only seen the +1 a couple of times.
Yeah, makes sense.
Not a big straddle crowd.
No, there's been a ton of action without it, so I guess they haven't felt like they've needed it this time. But the straddle this time does induce some action. Frankie raises to 30. Quan's not going anywhere with King Queen.
Here's Knox got the 10 and the 10.
Yeah, and I think Knox gonna 3-bet here. He does. Goes
Big
to
185.
185. He's in the big blind. I think just calling would also be reasonable, but 3-betting definitely fair as well.
I don't want to play out of position.
Nice. Getting the subs rolling in now. Cheese Seaman? Chai Seaman? Not sure about that one, but we appreciate the sub. Frankie lays down the suited connector. But Quan, who is actually... Well, they would normally call this a flip, but it looks like because of dead cards that Knock actually has a huge advantage here.
Ooh.
It's a pretty good flop for Quan, though.
See, the king of clubs was folded, the king of hearts was folded, and the queen of spades was folded. But
Gotcha.
now he's got all those club outs.
Gotcha, that makes sense.
Now we're closer to a flip. 8 true outs.
Knock keeps betting.
It's a good flop for Knock.
Yeah.
Now a 5-ball will chop it with him. He's up to 11 outs.
Yeah, I think Knock would only have a handful of 5s here. Maybe some ace-5 or some 6-5, 7-5 occasionally, but not too many. He checks back, which makes sense to me. Quan is capable of having a 5 for sure.
Yep. And Knock was just in check call mode now.
Yeah, and it looks like Quan just gives it up and goes check, check, and Knock wins a really healthy pot there.
That was good.
Yeah. If he knew Quan's exact hand, he could have bet again on the turn there to get some more value, but I think it makes perfect sense to check.
I agree. What did Frankie have there? 6-7. So he would have made a
I
pair.
think he might have had a little bigger than that, like
8-9.
8-9. Yeah.
Okay.
I
8-9.
There you go.
He's a weirdo. 8-9 is like my least favorite hand. I like 7-8. Yeah, I like 7-8. I like 4-5 more than I like 8-9. Yeah, 8-9. I like 6-7.
Capitalist 0-1-2.
The subs are rolling in.
I like it.
I like it too. Appreciate that, guys. Knox says he likes the 5-4 suited better than the 8-9 suited, and I would have to guess that's because the 8-9 interacts a little unfortunately with the better hands that people can have. So when you get into those 3-bet pots, those bloated pots, the 5-4 kind of has its own lane. So when you make hands like straights and 2 pairs, you can feel way more confident you're not getting dominated by your opponent's hands.
I can put up the cumulative winnings, but just as a
Oh, we got a big pot right here. We had an open 3-bet and then shove. Vadim just shoves $2.3 thousand with the ace-queen offsuit. And Knox snap folds, and it looks like his card's never read, so there's a good chance he had that 10.
yep.
Could be a variety of hands from Knock there. Suited 10s, ace 10, pocket 10s, all possible.
I just turned on the cumulative winnings, so in 15 minutes from the delay, we're going to see that. But just my disclaimer is don't put too much stock in it, because if Mike running the action tracker updated somebody's stack, it might show him as buying in again. And
Gotcha, that
so,
makes sense.
uh,
Should give us a rough idea, though.
yeah, it'll give you a little bit of an idea.
I can tell you that the Next Gen boys have been doing very well, both
Yes, they
Rosie
have.
and Frankie, and I think Knock is up quite a lot as well.
Rosie actually lost a grand somewhere. He was up to 4K, and now he's at 28.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't remember him losing a big hand.
Not that big.
Maybe he just lost 100 a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So Vadim opens the cutoff here with the ace-4 suited. It's a little bit loose, but reasonable. And gets defended in the big blind by Woodley. Got another sub there, I believe.
Oh, we did. I have this in my way.
That's
Wink.
all right. We appreciate that.
It
Whoever
was Chingling Bling Bling Baboon.
What a name. That is a classic right there. And Eric did a great job reading that. Appreciate that.
Eddie says we need to figure out if we can allow super chats so people can donate.
No doubt.
There is a way to do that. I'll have to work on that. I especially want to do it because when we have charity events, I want to have people be able to donate. And there's like a little ticker you can put on Streamlabs, which is the software we're using to do this.
Nice.
Where it'll track donations. It'll track just like it's doing now.
Cool.
It'll track donations.
That's fun.
So that's something I want to work on. We got King back in the box.
Looks like we have a little $10 straddle on here. All right. Vadim opens, and Woodley's going to 3-bet from the blinds. Totally whiffs. If he takes an aggressive line, I think he's going to eventually get Vadim off of this, but totally reasonable to give up here. He checks. Vadim bets to protect his hand, also totally reasonable, and Woodley just folds.
Picks up a nice little pot. Adds 90 to his stack.
Yep. Nico, we desperately need to get you into the game, bud. You got the perfect personality for it. Would also love to have you come down and do a little commentary. I bet you would be a lot of fun to listen to. You're a funny guy. Sounds like Frankie is in there predicting that Patrick Mahomes is going to break all of the NFL records, which, in my opinion, is a pretty bad prediction. Sure, he is on pace to do very well, but playing an NFL career that extends for as long as you need to break those kind of records, especially when you're the kind of guy who is on the move a lot, using a lot of weird arm angles, it just doesn't feel like it's going to last 20 years. All right, Oratigrui. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that name either. You guys have some interesting screen names out there, but we appreciate all of the subscriptions just the same. Click that like button too if you don't mind. Get this kind of sprayed out there into the algorithm. Love to see us break 70 subs, or I'm sorry, 70 concurrent viewers too. We've been in the upper 60s all night, and last week we never broke 60, so showing a little progress there, and we're going to continue improving the quality of the stream and the marketing for the stream, and hopefully have you guys coming back to watch on a weekly basis, as we are going to be running some 2-5 next-gen poker action here every week. We got Woodley opening, and then Rosie 3-betting now in the small blind, and a great flop for Rosie. Woodley does flop bottom pair, but you know he's going to be very cautious on this board after Rosie is 3-bet from the small blind. Rosie known as a more straightforward, solid player, so I think Woodley is going to expect that this board really connects with Rosie's range. Rosie goes with a small sizing. Might be just enough to keep Woodley around for another card. He does have a backdoor flush draw to go with his pair. PokerNet, I'm sorry that you did not see your name when you subbed. I actually had a similar problem when I liked it earlier just to do a test and it didn't pop up. I'm not sure how it determines when that subscribe ding goes off. Try it again. Get an interesting turn here. Woodley floats and then turns 2-pair, and now Rosie is the one who is drawing. I think there's a pretty good chance this is going to go check, bet, call. No. Rosie's going to keep firing. There are quite a few hands out there that you could get called by that are worse than yours, but quite a few that are better than yours as well. So a little bit of a dicey spot, but Rosie keeps coming. He knows that Woodley is capable of making some light calls and hanging around with light hands. This time he's drawn out on him, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this progresses. See if we can get a little bit of the table mic here. Woodley just calls. Not really surprised to see that. Rosie can very easily still have all of the better 2 pairs, the sets, ace-jack. The 8 is a brick, and Woodley has the best hand. If he can get to showdown, he is going to win this pot. From what I've seen from Woodley in a few previous spots, I won't be surprised if it just goes check-check.
I like check-check.
Yeah.
I don't go for the thin value on the river.
Yeah, it'd be pretty thin, but I think either option is worth consideration.
It's one of the leaks that I've seen in my game.
Sure.
After
It'd be a little
watching the
scary
stream.
to go for the thin value here, but I think Woodley should probably bet. When Rosie goes bet, check, I think he's got a lot of ace-king, maybe some ace-queen, king-jack.
The 2 pairs ahead of.
Yeah, and I don't think Rosie's ever going to raise you with a
150?
worse hand, so. I mean, it was 175 on the turn, so I'd say at least at least that much, maybe slightly more, like around 200 or so.
Oh, 200. Good call.
And Rosie snap
Nice,
calls.
nice Woodley.
Yeah, and he does get that thin value.
Oh, so while I was gone, somebody on the button must have won. Did they celebrate that or not?
You know, I didn't even see it happen, actually. I think it might have happened before you left, and we both missed it.
We just missed it.
Yeah.
Well, that's our fault then. PokerNet did not see my name when I subscribed. I didn't either. Try again. So Rosie said, I can't just let you push me around.
Yeah.
You know, got to call off with top pair.
I don't blame him there. Once you check, and you know Woodley's capable of making any play at any time. Hard to fold top pair.
I've called with worse.
Yeah.
Especially against Woodley.
So AA is going to swoop in with the raise here, and Woodley's going to defend the cutoff. And Evan's going to come in with a little squeeze from the small blind. I like mixing this in. I think doing some calling and some raising both make sense. Yeah, AA just folds. I'm not too surprised to see that, but I would be surprised to see Woodley fold.
I like Evan's 3-bet from the small blind with 9-10 suited.
Yeah, protecting that hand. And was able to get a tray off of a king-queen, so you can see kind of the power of that aggression. And Woodley does continue, so we're going to take a flop here, and Woodley's got actually a slight equity disadvantage, which to me means that probably some of those cards are dead. But it doesn't matter this time. He flops a pair of aces.
He's good.
He's good. Evan's got some backdoor draws and a board that favors him, so I won't be surprised at all if he decides to attack here.
Mm-hmm.
He does. He bets 100, down bets a little bit. Looks like about a third of the pot. Turns a queen. He knows this board is so good for him. Not going to be able to give it up. He turns the gutter and is going to come again. I mean, this sizing in my mind is just not going to get Woodley off of this hand. If he wants to get him off of an ace, he's going to have to blast it. It feels like this size is more geared towards just getting him off of like a weak king or a pair of eights, a small pocket pair, those kinds of hands. And yeah, Woodley quickly calls. River's a brick, so is Evan going to have the heart to go for it again? There is $800 in the middle. He does. Looks like some black chips. 4 of them? Yeah, $400 bet by Evan.
Wow.
I mean, he's definitely representing a hand stronger than what Woodley has, but just watching Woodley play, I don't know if he's going to be able to fold top pair here. We have seen him do some surprising things that were more passive than what you would expect from him, like checking back some 2-pair occasionally. Didn't in that last hand, but we have seen it before, so who knows? He could surprise us here, but I think getting this price 3-1, just got to think he's going to put it out there and win a big one. You can tell he's really thinking about it.
Is he thinking he has kicker problems?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Evan 3-bet pre-flop and then bet all 3 streets, so he's representing the strongest hands. Although his turn sizing was a little bit wacky, maybe felt less like a 2-pair hand or a set and more like a ace-jack or ace-10 type hand. But Woodley can't beat those either. It's a tough spot. And Nate gives us a sub. Appreciate that, Nate. And we cracked the 70 viewer count, guys. Awesome. I think that's the first time I've seen that, so love to you guys. Appreciate y'all being here tonight. We're having a good time. We got Woodley in the tank here with the pair of aces and Evan bluffing all 3 streets.
It's so hard to 3-barrel,
It is.
especially against a guy like Woodley.
And it's hard to call down against a 3-barrel. Oh.
This is so good.
Oh, I thought it was going in the muck there.
His half a pot bet.
Yeah, which then gives Woodley 3-1 on a call here. Means he only needs to be good about a quarter of the time. I'm digging that hoodie too. It's a good look. Nice color. And he
He
grabs the
does
chips.
call.
They're
He
in
does.
there. Woo!
Ooh, heroes.
Nice call, Woodley. That pie got sneaky big.
It did. Evan so wanted to win that pot. He tried very hard.
Yeah,
Kudos on the effort.
no doubt. Bet the entire way.
Yeah, that was great.
3-bet pre-flop.
I love the
3-bet,
heart. I love the
bet.
heart. There's our cumulative winnings.
There we go,
Frankie
guys.
2,500. AA after that hand down 2,300. Quan down 1,400. These are all rough. Do not put too much thought into this. Those are all rough numbers. A couple of guys asking if we're hiring. We're always looking for good people. Rip, great heart by Evan. Just need to bet bigger.
I'm with you, Nico. I think he could have got it done, but, you know, he probably wasn't really even trying to bet Woodley off of an ace. He's probably trying to bet him off of all of those weaker pairs. Great heart, though. I'm with you all the way.
Look how happy is Ryan
Yeah.
Woodley. Look how happy he is with himself right there.
I don't blame him. I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm like, bam, gotcha. Top pair. Correct. Eddie says cumulative winnings do not include all of the people who busted and left. That's why almost everybody's up.
Gotcha.
Great call on that board. Good play by Evan, too. Hard to fire the 3rd barrel. I agree.
No doubt. No doubt.
Woodley then wakes up with a real hand and 3-bets it.
Yes, he does, and he's going to get some action from Knock here, who
And,
just saw that ace-4 showdown.
Yes.
Ace-4 offsuit.
And the 3 calls with the 10 of hearts.
Yep. 10 of hearts is dead, guys, so when someone has a disguised hand, like we see AA here, that means one of those cards is probably the 10 of hearts. So it looked like it went raise, call, and then Woodley 3-bets. Knock and AA both call. And now, after AA calls here, I'm thinking that with Woodley having those 2 blockers, the most likely hand for AA is going to be the 10-10. Would make sense to me that he calls the open from Knock, then calls the 3-bet, and then calls on the flop. 9-10 would also make sense, 9-10 of hearts. And he wouldn't have even been in there with 9-10 offsuit, I guess, so those blockers are somewhat irrelevant. But more combos of pocket 10s here. Goes check, check on the turn. And Woodley's going to
Oh, he mucks.
take it down. So maybe he did have 10-9 of hearts. That would make sense. Could have a Jack-10 of hearts there, too. Gut shot, 2 overs, and a backdoor flush draw. That would make some sense as well. Maybe a 10-8 of hearts.
Ace-10.
Maybe, but I don't know that he would call the flop bet with
Not
just
so
an
much,
ace
just
10.
2 overs.
I don't know.
Against Woodley, you never
Yeah.
know.
Never know. I'm not that familiar with Grayo's play, but
I'm not at all. All right, I'm going to go turn back on all the stats now.
cool.
Boom, boom, boom. So for 15 minutes, we're just going to bounce back and forth between chip count and cumulative, and then we're going to get all of our stats to end the night.
Awesome. And we are Getting kind of close to winding it down here. Looks like we got about 20 minutes left on the stream, guys.
Which will be 45 minutes. They're going to play for 20 minutes, and then we've got 15 minutes because we're in the time warp.
Okay, so we're going till about 10:30?
10:15.
10:15, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's 9:40 right now. They'll play for 20 more minutes. At 10 o'clock, they'll quit playing, and we'll still be watching for 15 more minutes.
Okay, gotcha.
Or we can kick them out now, and we'll finish at 10 o'clock.
That's up to you.
It's
Fine to go the extra 15. Guys, hit us in the chat and tell us if you want to see an extra 15 minutes of play here. Take it till 10:15.
Give us a bunch of thumbs up. Make me feel good about myself.
Did you see we cracked the 70 viewer
I
count?
like the 70 viewers.
That's nice.
That's nice. Oh, speaking of double board bomb pots, we're going to have one right now. Now, this is a lot of effort for the action tracker who has to manually type in the second board. They are doing a double board hold'em bomb pot. And Quan just picks it up.
Trip Kings, good enough to get it done.
Yes, Anthony. They're paying time to play. If you're new to Texas poker, they do not rake the game like they do everywhere else, and so you pay a membership to be part of this club, and then you pay by the hour. You can pay $13 an hour, or you can buy in bulk and 5 for $55, which brings it down to $11 an hour, or you can buy, if it's me, $200 for 20 hours.
Yeah, that's right.
$10
an hour.
I had to do the math quick. I knew it was $10 an hour.
Which is a heck of a deal.
Yeah, $10 an hour.
actually.
And when I'm explaining this to my guys back in Minnesota, they're like, "Oh, there's no way I'm paying to play." And I go, "No, you are paying to play at every casino. You're paying
Exactly.
a rake, a drop."
And usually more than what you're paying.
Exactly. I said like you're typically playing. Let's say $6, $7. Let's say it's $5. If you win 2 pots in an hour, that's $10. If you win 3 pots in an hour, that's $15. You just saved $5 by paying by time.
Yeah.
So this is a way better deal if you are a winning player. You know, so it takes a minute to think about. You know, rationalize that. Man, I'm paying $10 just to sit down and play. I'm not doing that, you know, and that was my mentality from Minnesota. I'm like, no, just rake the game. That's way better. And I'm like, wait, no, not if I'm winning.
Yeah.
This is way better for the player. So yes, long answer, and the short answer is yes, they do pay to play.
So Quan wakes up with a real hand here.
AJ for Brandon.
What happened? Did Quan just open raise to 250?
Yeah.
No, it looks like we have some other action here. There's some
It's a
chips in front of
straddle.
these guys.
It's a straddle and double straddles.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
So he went to 25, which is 5x, and then he
no.
went to 50. And,
And AA
Athea is the first straddle.
with the pocket tens in the double straddle, $50 straddle pot.
This is a good way to
Nick
lose
Ernst,
50.
thank you for subscribing. This is going to be a tough one right here. I think AA knows that Quan is a little bit splashy.
Oh, for sure.
Whoa, and did Woodley just snap call? Oh my gosh, AA
Wait.
is all in for his stack. Woodley has
Wait.
snap called with the ace-3?
No, no. Oh, no. AA called and Woodley snap shoved.
Oh my goodness.
Woodley's like, whoops.
Oh my gosh,
Here,
Woodley has just stepped right in it here.
Let's
He's
listen
trying
to-
to isolate.
Let's listen to these guys. They're going to go. He does fold tens.
Good fold.
Wow. All right. Ace, ace,
Well, if you look at those percentages,
ace one time for.
do we have
Woodley.
some dead cards that are leading this to be a 60-40
Possibly
spot?
a king somewhere.
Doesn't feel like that would even be enough.
No.
Now
He
Woodley's
needs
in
exactly
bad
an ace.
trouble, and he
Doesn't get
bricks.
it.
Oh my gosh, Quan wins a huge one. The $50 straddle. Oh, they're going to run
They
it
are running
twice here.
twice.
No ace on either board.
Bricks him.
Are they running it 3 times?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yes.
Wow.
Athrea said I had tens. Whoops.
Whoops.
And Woodley's just kind of smiling like,
Yeah.
whoops.
Well, if Woodley has a $2.3 thousand stack here, then that is only about 46 big blinds with a $50 straddle on. So I think what he sees is 250 from the button from a loose player,
Yep.
a call for 250, which feels like a capped range. You know, like wouldn't he re-raise if he had the strongest hands? And I've got an ace, a suited ace blocker. I don't want to call for 250, so I'm just gonna
rip it in
steal.
and make them both fold.
Yeah, steal that $500.
Perfect sandwich.
Yeah, it was fearless.
So Eddie, if you're questioning strategy there, or if you're questioning the actual mechanics, what happened is there was a straddle to 25. Woodley double straddle to 50. It folds around to Quan, who wakes up with queens and makes it 250 to go. Athrea, tank calls with pocket tens, and Woodley snaps 4K in with ace tray, and Athrea gets away from it. They run it twice, and Quan picks them both up. So that's what happened. Yeah, Athrea got lucky he didn't jam.
Yeah.
Which I yeah, he says he's not folding queens. Now Woodley has a flush draw. He can also hit a tray to get a better hand than Brandon.
Gotta love this deep stack poker. There's a lot of play involved.
Now just a diamond, and he bricks. Check, 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 check.
Brandon's gonna value bet his king here on the end.
Get no action.
And no
All
action.
right, back to the chat. Anthony says the casino I go charges 10% up to $10, $3 for the house each hand. It's horrible.
Oh, and
What's
we've
happening? Hey, Jelly.
got a little celebrity here in the mix. We got Mr. Jelly himself, straight from the chat into the booth. See if we can get him in the mix here on the mic.
Oh, what's going on?
Mr. Jelly, how's it going?
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too. Yeah, how's the stream going so
I
far?
would say the stream has been excellent. Your boys are doing very well.
That's what I've heard. Rosie just told me he's in for 1,000, so he's killing it tonight.
He's killing it. Frankie is also killing it. And Mr. Nocturnal also killing it. I think they're 3 of the biggest winners in the game.
That's what we like to see here. Oh my gosh, I watched a few minutes of the stream at the start and it was wild.
Yeah, it's just stayed wild the entire time, actually. It's been
That's
off the
pretty
chain.
exciting. I saw Rosie had like the biggest pot of his life right at the start, which was pretty exciting.
He's played several huge ones. And then Woodley, of course, is giving a lot of action and making a few hands, putting people in tough spots.
So who's the biggest winner right now?
I think it's Frankie.
Okay, nice. For
Is
his
that right?
birthday, he always runs good on
Yeah.
his birthday.
Always runs good on the birthday.
He's got the birthday magic. We called it that.
Exactly, birthday magic.
Excited to have you in the booth, actually. I'm hoping to see this as more of a regular occurrence where you guys kind of rotate through and do some commentary.
Yeah, I think that'll probably be the case if we have all three of us playing every week. Yeah. Oh, shoot. We have Quan flopping 2-pair over Vadim. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, I think that's right. Vadim has flopped a pair of aces on the flop. It went bet call, and now Quan bets again, and Vadim just lets it go.
Good fold from
That
Vadim.
is a good
Impressive.
fold.
No kicker.
No kicker.
No kicker, but I just would not be surprised to see him call one more time there with an ace. And there you go. There's
wow.
the cumulative winnings.
Seems like everyone's up. How is that possible?
We've had some bust outs.
Frankie, Knock, and Rosie all at the top 3. Love to see it.
Love
wow.
to see that.
Woodley was up there. He just bluff shoved and lost like 15.
Huge pot. We just saw a big one, Jello.
Against who?
So we had a Woodley had put on a $50 straddle. We had a 25 straddle from Athrea and then a $50 straddle from Woodley. The button opens, who is Quan, to 250. He's got pocket kings. Athrea calls with pocket tens in the 25 straddle, and then Woodley, seeing the 500 out there, just rips it in with ace-3 suited for about 2,000 effective.
He loves his ace-3 suited, too.
Oh, he went for it. Of course, gets snapped off by the kings. Athrea makes a good fold, gets away from the tens. And then the kings hold on 2 runouts.
Wow.
Big pot.
No ace to come. That's sad.
No ace to come.
All right, we see Brandon open up the juicy 6-9 suited. Can't fold that hand pre-flop.
I'd say juicy is a great word to describe that hand, Jella. It's quite juicy. And we have AA waking up. Gosh, I hope he gets one through right here. He's got the Jack-4 off, and we are playing the Jack-4 off game tonight.
Okay. For $10 or what's it?
It's $10 a person. Hashtag free Robbie. The
Yes.
Jack-4 off game. And everyone folds, including Knock with the suited ace. And Athrea needs something to go his way. He has had some really tough spots tonight. It's been a little unfortunate. Several coolers, and good to see him actually get something to go his way.
That's good. Glad to see it. And it's always good to see Jack-4 win like it should.
So, Jello, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on with you guys?
Yeah, so some pretty exciting stuff. We just recently are partnered with Poker House now, so we will be coming here pretty often now, playing weekly live streams as well as getting in the cash mix pretty often. We'll be having a bunch of meetup games here throughout the years to come, and so that'll be really exciting. We just really like this room. It's really clean. It's really nice. The staff is nothing but amazing, and we see a lot of good growth opportunities here. And like a house, it seems like a real card room that deserves more recognition, so we're hoping to give it that.
No doubt.
Yeah, so we're really excited for that. And what's really nice is these weekly live streams. These are going to be great for our channel, for Poker House, and just overall great for Discord members and anyone who wants to be part of it. Everyone can get their chance to have their fame on the live stream. So
Nice.
pretty exciting stuff.
And it feels like Poker House has kind of opened up and given you guys some creative flexibility with these streams and your meetup games and stuff. You guys are going to be collaborating, so it's going to be a lot of fun to see y'all producing content as sort of a sponsor for a room. Kind of the first ones doing that, huh?
Yeah, it's something new in the space, and I'm sure that you'll start to see that happen more often with new card rooms coming out, with having influencers kind of come in and help promote the room to start getting traction. So I think we're going to do a good job at that. I'm excited. I think Poker House really deserves that recognition, so I think that's going to help. And one thing interesting here I'm noticing, taking a look at the VPIP, is Knock, Rosie, and Frankie are the 3 lowest, yet they're the 3 biggest winners. So
It's funny how that works sometimes,
it
huh?
is funny. Patient poker right there, it seems like. But yeah, we're really excited for that. Excited for all the cool opportunities we're going to get to have too. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. Got the opportunity to play some more big games on the stream too, which will be cool. This is a 2-5 game, I believe, right?
This is 2-5, a little 1,500 cap, and we were just talking earlier about how we'd love to see this game kind of travel out onto the floor and run every night with this structure. A little 2-5, 1,500 cap game.
Yeah, I like the 1,500 cap idea rather than like the matches stack at some other card rooms, just
Sure.
because it allows people who want to get that experience to play without having to face some 10 or 15 or 20K stacks that some pros might come in and buy in for, which makes it kind of tough to maneuver with a smaller stack.
For sure. There's something to be said for like having to earn that big stack and not being able to just come in and cover everybody just because you're wealthy.
I agree. And we see here Vadim opening up to 150 and Brandon calling on the $50 straddle, I believe.
I'm guessing that's what it was, yeah.
And he flops his bottom pair, so he is going to be in for some trouble here if Vadim bets. I think he's not going to have a easy time letting this go just because he flopped a pair. I know Brandon is a bit sticky.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it looks like he's actually just going to turn it into a bluff immediately. Go from 100 to 350, kind of attack this small sizing. But I don't think it's going to work this time.
Yeah,
Adam's
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good hand here.
Got the king of spades to back it up as well. I don't think he's getting away from this.
And is Brandon going to continue? It looks like yes. He reaches for chips.
Jeez.
That's pretty fast. Yeah, whole handful of black chips there. That's 5 of them.
Sometimes there are some tells to be had in terms of timing. He bet that right away.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Most of the time on that jack card, it's not going to connect as well with him as Vadim necessarily. So he might want to think about it a bit before he blasts off like that.
Yeah, and Vadim is not buying it as he has shoved over the top here.
Wow.
Pretty quickly, too. He didn't really think very long before just ripping it in.
That's surprising. I guess he just wanted to end the hand right there.
Yeah, not really giving Brandon a chance to continue bluffing, but maybe he's thinking those bluffs are going to have a lot of equity against him pretty often. 2 spades out there, some
straight draw
draws.
plus pairs, something along those lines. Yeah. Wow. Interesting spot there to just shove it all in for like 2K effective.
For sure. When you got a $50 straddle on, those pots get big fast.
Yeah, only a couple big blind stacks at that point. Oh, he just said he had king deuce too. He told the whole place. Has the chat been firing off today as well?
You know, the chat has been very supportive and friendly tonight.
Good, good.
Last week we had some trolls in the mix, which is fun, but sometimes a little much.
Okay.
But this week it has been just overwhelmingly supportive. We've had a lot of interaction, a bunch of new subscribers. Yeah, it's going well, and we've kept our viewer count up above 50 the entire time, whereas last week we were barely cracking 50, and we've been up almost into the 80s. Gotten into the mid-70s a couple of times. So
you know, I haven't seen the chat fire off a chat in a while. Ask us some questions, write something funny in the chat, make us laugh, or do something.
No doubt. How about, Jello, we'd love to hear your initial take on the Garrett Robbie situation.
Oh boy, I think I'll start by just saying I don't think I have the expertise to make any sort of comment. My gut does tell me that there is something fishy going on, though.
Okay, interesting.
Just because it just seems way too out of the ordinary, but there's just so many good points for both sides, and I can see either one being the case. So I don't think I'd be too surprised if either one was actually happening. I think people are reading into the vibration a little bit too much, like on the videos where they show the chair vibrating. When I look at that, I don't really see it too much, and I'm kind of confused by that part.
Could easily just be her like moving around a little bit, kicking her leg for a second, my argument is, if you did have some kind of vibration device that was going to let you know the cards, would you ever make it powerful enough that it's going to vibrate your entire chair and torso? It just seems like it would be so obvious, and it would be something more like your cell phone is never going to vibrate and then you see someone's entire body move, right? That doesn't make sense.
Agreed. I did think it was a little weird, and maybe it was just nerves how she changed her story up quite a bit during the table talk.
Definitely.
And then following into after, she kind of changed her story up too.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm not exactly sure if that really constitutes any fishy behavior. I think that might have just had to do with nerves and her trying to justify her call.
No doubt. I mean, you're in like a huge pressure situation. You're literally playing probably 10 times the stakes you normally do with Phil Ivey at the table, Garrett Adelstein at the table, and then Garrett, is giving you the death stare as you're scooping in his chips. You're trying to make some like casual table talk.
She was kind of talking trash at that point.
A little bit, but I feel like the trash talk was sort of like a defense mechanism, because she was like, Garrett looks mad, and like this is like kind of awkward. You could tell she didn't want to flip her hand over and stuff. Yeah, and I think when people make poker plays that, don't really have much of a justification, of course it's going to sound a little silly when you try to justify them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people would agree that call was very optimistic at the least. And, it's going to be hard to justify it with good sound logic, but that doesn't mean that it was unfair in some way.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
All right, we can hop back in the action here where we have top pair against the open-ended straight draw for Quan. Got a healthy little pot out there, about $800.
Yeah, we actually saw Rosie 3-bet this hand with my favorite hand, 9-8 suited. And then Woodley just let out on the flop, it seemed.
Nice. And now Quan drills it, dude, here on the end. He hits the ace. It does bring in a flush. Let's see how much he's
Oh, he
gonna
bets
go
so
for.
tiny.
That's 200 into about 800.
Knowing Woodley, this is going to be hard for him to get away given
Yeah,
this price.
it's going to be a tough one, but
You just don't beat anything at this point.
yeah, you can only beat a bluff, and then you have to wonder, is Quan really going to go for like a very small sizing, lead bluff? It's possible, but this sizing match is the exact same size as the bet on the flop. So it just feels kind of like thin value, protecting your hand a little bit.
Oh, and he calls. Gets shown the bad news.
Bad news.
I was actually out there during this hand just saying hi to everyone, and I could hear the table talk, and Woodley thought he just had an ace, and he rivered an ace. So that's what he was kind of thinking he was putting him on. He didn't think he was that strong as to have a straight at that point.
Yeah, that's kind of Robbie logic, though, because you can't beat an ace either. So.
I know. And that's another thing that they were kind of talking about. Like, there's a lot of arguments for her misreading her hand, but I think it was just so clear by the way she was looking at it and talking about the hand that she knew what she had.
Yeah, that's definitely the most suspicious thing to me is the story changing repeatedly. She actually said on Twitter this morning that she did misread her hand and thought she had a 3. Like we were saying earlier, I think it makes some sense that she could have been going kind of back and forth on that. Maybe not even 100% sure. I can think of a few of the times when I've been in the highest pressure situations of my poker career, and maybe you're not thinking as clearly as you normally would. You kind of maybe key in on one particular aspect of it, which in this case for her might have been, I think Garrett's bluffing. I think he doesn't have it. I think that he's trying to bully me off of this pot. And then all of the strategy thoughts that would go into deciding which candidates you're going to choose to bluff catch with kind of go out the window. And instead it's like, well, I know my hand's not very good, but I also don't think his is. So I'm just going to call and see what happens. You know?
Yeah, I know. But the crazy part is she can't even beat a queen high bluff or a king high bluff.
Yeah.
In those hands, she's just drawn to 8% right there.
Sure. So. And I think she would kind of reference that she thought, maybe he is beating me, but his hand is really weak, like he has ace high or something. And then we're going to run it twice, and if he does have ace high, maybe I'll hit a pair and then win half of all that money that's already out there. And of course, like we said, maybe those thoughts don't quite logically line up to justify the call, but it's hard to justify something that's not mathematically sound,
And but the pot also was just so small beforehand. It was a very small pot. Garrett bet big on the turn, and she min clicked him. And then he 6 or 7x raised over that.
Yeah.
And so the pot, there wasn't too much money in the middle of hers already committed.
Yeah.
To where calling another 100,000 made sense, drawing to just 2 outs potentially or 2 cards.
Sure.
That she could hit.
But again, you'd have to be deducing that. There was $40,000 in the middle.
That's true.
And I think maybe for her, even more so than how much money's out there, it could be more about that her ego is kind of on the line of I tried to bluff this guy because I think he's bluffing, and now he's trying to bluff me again. And also in her mind, she's like, I have the jack of clubs. That's a blocker for something, right? That's a good reason to call when you have a blocker. And maybe he could have a straight draw. Plus, if I call and I'm right, I'm going to look like a legend. I'm going to stack Garrett for $300,000 pot on Livestream. All of those things can just play into that moment of okay, let's see what he's got. This is the last hand here. Okay, guys, we're rolling into our last hand here. Kind of let the time slip on us a little bit, and let's get back in the action.
Knock just folds, closing out the action for $20 more. Oh, no, there was a 3.
Yeah, it looks like our tracker was lagging a little bit. Looks like Knock had limped with the 6s. Got ISO'd by Athrea. Okay, gotcha. So it looks like Woodley has more than the tracker is telling us. Yeah, we can see
Looks
that.
Like he's got almost $4,000 in front of him.
So it went limp, ISO from Athrea, and when we see those 2 cards not being revealed, Jello, we know one of those is the 10 of hearts because that card is broken and won't scan right now.
Oh, okay.
But we don't know what his other card is, so we can speculate. Looks like Woodley had called with the 3 deuce and then gets squeezed by Vadim in the big blind, and it comes action flop here. Vadim and Woodley have both flopped a flush draw.
This could be very dangerous for Woodley. He's also got the straight draw too, so he's definitely not getting away from this for pretty much any amount of money on the flop. Probably turn either.
150. I think a three, unless he has like ace 10 of hearts, is probably out of here.
That's what I was thinking.
And it
as
looks
well.
like he might have that, as he does make the call. And now is Woodley going to go for a big squeeze here? There's $700 out there, guys, and he has a combo draw. He's got about 3K back, as Jello indicated, and that is pretty deep with Vadim, which might lean him towards just calling for this 150 and peeling the turn. But I could also see him going for it. What do you think?
I think he's going to just call here. He's got almost 4K actually in his stack right now, so that's really deep to go for a raise here.
You're right.
Being kind of a crappy spot on the turn. I guess it'll buy you a cheap showdown if you raise here.
Yeah.
Get called.
Vadim only has about 3K, though, so that's what
okay.
they'd be playing for here.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think a call is probably best here with Woodley's hand.
And he does call?
It also keeps the pot a bit more manageable if you are getting coolered over a better flush.
Good point. So,
Vadim pairs up now, and
Yeah,
he's going to
turns a
check his
pair.
showdown value.
I'm sure. I don't know if he'll even believe that he has showdown value here after he gets called two ways.
Fair.
He may more so be checking just so that he knows he doesn't get blown off his hand and he can always see the river.
And now when it checks to Woodley in this spot, I think he's just going to go for it here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 500 bones.
Doesn't
the
take
middle.
long for him to stick it out there. He was the original flatter and then reflatted again, which kind of eliminates some of the nutted hands here. Aces, kings, ace, king, probably even nines. So he's sort of repping like a two-pair hand, like a ace nine, a king nine, ace five, pocket fives hand.
And you'd expect... Oh,
And Vadim rips it on him. Oh, no, and Woodley is going to be in a spot here. Oh, man, let's see what his price is. So, 4.3 out there.
He's got to call off 2.5 more thousand.
About 2 to 1, a little less than 2 to 1, and one card to come. I think he's probably just going to have to lay it down, which is unfortunate. Okay, let's hear some table talk here. Oh, it pains him to even think about folding this. But he is at a huge equity disadvantage. You see he's almost drawing dead. He would have to drill one of those fours for a gut shot.
The thing is, even if Vadim is bluffing, he's still drawing so slim. He's not ever a favorite here. Even if Vadim's got like queen jack or something like that with not even a club,
Yeah.
he's still in horrible shape against him.
I mean, you kind of hope that Vadim is not bluffing in a way, because then your draws are way more live.
Exactly. Yeah, we see Woodley's drawn to only 2 fours left in the deck. As one of them was burned.
And Greer says, excellent bet. I totally agree. This is a great card to do this with. And since Vadim is the pre-flop squeezer, and since Woodley is not, Vadim can just simply have stronger hands than it's even possible for Woodley to have. So it's a great spot to just put all the heat on him.
Woodley has to run it twice here. Thinks he has ace king.
Which would make sense. Ooh. Woodley is not considering the fact that he might be drawing at exactly the same thing that Vadim is and be completely crushed here. Sounds like he's thinking this is definitely a value bet.
Yeah, and Vadim's probably a little nervous right now, thinking his hand's a bluff.
Yeah. And how excited will he be if he gets a call here and then sees that he's actually 94% favorite?
Just because it's the last hand of the stream, that might have something to play into how Woodley might
Could be.
react to this bet.
Fair enough.
Oh, Woodley, what are you going to do? It's a lot of money to put in there. 500 big blinds.
Woodley deep in the tank here, considering if he wants to call off for his entire stack with the combo draw.
Come on, Woodley. I know you can find this fold. I know it's hard.
Guys, let us know in the chat. What do you think he's going to do?
Clock from Jordan.
I'm not calling the clock on this one. I'm enjoying the sweat, actually. This is a good tank. I don't think he thinks that, Greer. I think he would snap fold if he believed only a 4 is going to help him.
I hope it doesn't come for you, Woodley.
Shane with the sub. Appreciate that, Shane. And Woodley finds the fold, the agonizing fold.
Let's see, they're going to run out the river.
Looks like Vadim shows him the goods.
Oh, I want to know what the river was.
Yeah. And a great fold. Cool. And guys, that's going to end up being our last hand here. We're going to close it out for you guys by looking at some of these statistics here to end the night. We got a DGN poker subscription. Appreciate that. We've got a bunch of subs tonight. You guys keep those coming. Give us some likes. Can feed that algorithm and keep promoting the live stream. We're going to be running this every week here with Jello, Frankie, and Rosie from Next Gen Poker, teaming up with Poker House of Dallas. We're going to have these guys rotating through the game and rotating through the booth here with me. And if you'll take a look at those accumulative winnings, looks like Vadim with a couple of big pots here at the end of the night. He only played for about a third of the stream, I think, and ended up having a huge win. Frankie, Knock, Quan, Rosie, all big winners too.
Yeah, it seemed like a great stream. I'm excited to hopefully get to commentate and play on plenty more of these. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And I'm sure Nick and Eric killed it back here. So hope you guys really enjoyed this one and expect to see one of these weekly, a Sunday Next Gen exclusive live stream. Hop in our Discord and Patreon to come check out this action if you want to get involved. If not, you can enjoy this action from the comfort of your home as well. So hope to see you guys in the chat more often and see you guys next week.
No doubt. All right. Thanks, guys. Catch you next time.